All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Not deliriously, like, low on energy and tired today. So that's a plus for the first stream of this weekend. Or week start, I guess, you know, since it's Monday now. But hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing good. Got a cool idea today, and that is to do Urgoz Warren. So, yeah, I mentioned on yesterday's stream, which was the finale of the Cantha playthrough, which really, I mean, how crazy is that, guys? Honestly, at the start of this weekend, we were in the middle of the Echovald Forest. And to me, that's like not the end, near the end of the game as well when I consider factions. And then boom, it's like, yeah, 2 streams and we're done. I can't believe that it really went that quick. But I mean, it's kind of doing it co-op propped up a bit by the fact that there's so many good players with us and we get the concepts and stuff. So, yeah, I mentioned on that stream that the idea would be to do a vote on whether we continue faction stuff for Winds of Change, but I don't want to do the vote on a Guild Wars 1 stream because everyone's just going to vote for that, even though, you know, viewership is lower and all that other kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. So today we will not vote on that. However, I haven't got anything off the top of my head that I want to do in Guild Wars 2 for a stream, and there is the fact of Urgoz Warren, at least, for factions. So how about we revisit that? For the first time in a long time. The only video where I did Urgoz Warren on my channel, if you go check it out, is actually a collab video with someone I don't collab with anymore, but an old friend of mine, a member of one of my guilds back in the day. He's called Guild Wars Buddy. He used to do various Guild Wars videos, you know, on that transition period between Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2. He did some productions on GW2 as well, and we used to hang out all the time, all the time. And anyway, he liked Urgoz Warren. I did a kind of collab video with him. I think Mike was there as well, but not in the commentary, only in the footage. And I think we did that for the Deep as well, both Urgoz and the Deep, and we kind of and that was my first ever collab actually, which was a playthrough of Urgoz Warren. I don't remember every little nitpicky little piece of trivia about Urgoz anymore, and I certainly don't remember all the other stuff that it's seated within the settings, so the trivia bombs aren't going to be amazing here, but it'll be kind of fun to go back in 2018, see it with the new graphics and stuff, and what we'll do is a casual clear. By casual, I mean we're not going to have, you know, we're not going to be doing anything particularly special with our strats. It will be like a full clear, where we take everything out of every room. You know, we might leave a few patrols and stuff up, but yeah, this will be a really cool video or stream in a lot of ways. It feels like just yesterday, honestly. But when Heart of Thorns was coming out and the devs announced raids, I had an idea to do a video discussing Guild Wars 1's endgame and how that might influence Guild Wars 2's. It really feels like just yesterday I was talking about this. But yeah, you know, I was going to do a video where I went back and looked at the design, the encounter design and stuff of Urgoz versus the JC. Didn't in the end, and then they allowed us to beta the raids really quickly, and obviously the format was totally different. So I never did it in the end, but it will be interesting, guys. If you're a Guild Wars 2 fan and watching this and you don't know how Guild Wars 1 structured its early end game, it will be really cool. I guess I won't wrap out all the trivia and stuff here. I'll sit on it until a few more people realize the stream's live. I'm starting a little bit early here today as well because 2 reasons. 1, I want to give people an opportunity to party up and get in. All right. 2, I kind of want to end the stream a little bit early because the Pokemon marathon starts like right when I end normally, and they're starting today, the Johto journeys, the Johto adventures, and I want to catch the very start of that. All right, that is the thing to watch the second this stream ends, guys. So yeah, I'm hoping to start early and then end early a little bit. There. So yeah, good stuff. I guess I'll do the intro and I'll see you all in a second. Go get your coffee, go get your fun stuff, and meet me for the Urgoz Warren Adventures at Kaineng Center. We'll all group up here for the first 8, then we'll hope that one of them's got a portal scroll or something, and then we'll go into Urgoz. We should get some Kurzik faction from doing it as well, which could push us over the edge, finally, for Friend of the Kurziks. Bada bing, bada boom. It will be really great, guys. I'll see you soon. Alright, I'm back. What's this shit in chat? WP following promises lull. What are you talking about? What promises haven't I followed? Yeah, I kind of wanted to do a regular stream today, but I didn't say it will absolutely 100% set in stone be. Please don't be morons that, you know, treat me like you were a game developer that says, we're thinking about doing something, and then it doesn't happen, so you whine about it. You have no grounds for whinging, none of you. Okay, a passage scroll Turgo's Warren. This is brilliant. Thank you very much. This is great. Let's grab this. Sweet. So, yeah, we got a bit of a... Oh, you guys can't see the game. We've got a bit of a problem right now in that there's only 2 people who want to join. Now, this could be because we're early. It could be because people aren't expecting a factions thing, like Serial Experiments isn't here. Quite a few people who were coming along and pretty regular aren't here, and that might just be because they think that factions is done and they don't want to be around anymore. I have no way of contacting them either, so we will see how this goes. We got 3 people. Let me just first of all invite Bacon, kick him, and re-invite him so that I've got the target. I guess he was standing next to me anyway. I didn't have to do it. That's so ridiculous. So I'll be party leader, and then people can try and join on, and we'll see. Really, we want the 12 players. I don't want to have to do this with heroes. Come on, we've done the whole series without heroes. So, yeah. Oh, Serial Experiments isn't chat. They say it's Monday, I'm working. Yeah, this is the problem. We're doing it on a Monday. I don't remember any of the Monday faction streams being more strapped for people, though. I mean, the thing is, we lose and lose and lose the longer a series goes on. People don't have the attention span to stick with any one thing for very long. So we're at the very back of a series now, a bit of an impromptu thing, and asking for more players than we've ever asked for. So, I mean, it's just a recipe for disaster. We'll see. I'd like to get in about 20 minutes at least, though. That would be a pretty cool time, I think, to actually land it. We also get another vote on another build here for this bonus episode. So yeah, I guess I'll show you the mechanics of how to get in, and we'll start grouping from within there actually now. You see, we got a scroll here. These scrolls are available for purchase utilizing faction from some NPCs that are up these ramps here. These NPCs are newly added with regard to the entirety of the game, and they basically... there's 3 stages of getting access to these areas. Stage number 1 was only the top alliance could do it from the exclusive area of House Zuhelzer, or Cavalon if you're doing the deep. But we're doing Urgoz, so it's House Zuhelzer. There's lore attached to the NPC that lets you in, describing and setting up the whole idea, and then you go in. And then once that person's inside, the guild can do the group. Once you have one person in, you could essentially ferry and pay, even people outside the guild could hop into a party and sneak their way in through ferrying, and often the top alliances would charge for this service. So in the very early days, the top alliances would, you know, sell it for a reasonable amount of money because they want world first or they don't want anyone else in there and stuff like that, right? So you might think, oh, that's really tacky and cruel, but don't forget, you know, there is always the opportunity for you to join the alliance or to join a competing alliance and just get more faction. Because that alliance can't dedicate just to the end game. They have to dedicate to the warfront as well, to keep the faction, to keep the capital. So, especially in those early rush days, it would have been flipping hands constantly. And, I don't know, I'll tell you what, it's an interesting idea of design I'm actually kind of excited and interested about. I missed it because I was not a very hardcore player back then. That was the original, and then the taxiing was the main thing. Over the years, taxiing became, you know, free, and it was for tips, and nobody really cared anymore, and it was just super easy. Then finally they added these. Where are they? These requisitioners, I think they are, maybe? The Minister of Maintenance is for the Eye of the North quest. This guy is possibly for the start of Winds of Change. Nope. Are they over here, maybe? So the Kurzik Poet will give us the book, which people were talking about. This is Winds of Change stuff, I think. Imperial Guard requisition stuff. I don't really remember these. Scroll of the Dragon Empire. 10%. There's a lot of crazy items here that I don't really remember. This must still be Winds of Change stuff. It will feel like a blind series if we vote on Winds of Change, by the way. If we do... Oh, here you go. They're the Quartermasters over here. I think... No, they're not. Where did we get the scroll from? I really can't remember. But anyway, there's an NPC you can go to somewhere. I guess it's just the regular ones, actually. Maybe it's the ones we were utilizing already, the ones down here. The faction traders. Yeah, I think it is those. You can get Amber, you can get Jade, or you can get the dedicate to the Alliance, or you can spend the faction currency on these scrolls. And the scroll reads as such. Passage to Urgoz Warren. Double-click to teleport your party to Urgoz Warren. This item can only be used in House Zuhelzer and at Embark Beach. So let's go to House Zuhelzer and let's meet up there, shall we? Oh, our party has members who can't even travel there. Do we wish to leave them? Who's trying to join that doesn't even have it? Well, they'll have Embark Beach then. So let's go to Embark Beach, I guess. This is interesting that they added to Embark. Right, we'll go there and we'll teleport from there. So, guys, we're going to LFG from Embark Beach, which is kind of a campaign non-specific LFG attempt. Oh, the scroll is just from the rare scroll trader, is it? Okay, well, anyway, so you get the scroll so everyone basically can get entrance now. And voila, it's nice and easy. The bad thing, though, is that if you use the scroll to enter, you don't speak to the NPC and you don't get the actual story on how to enter, which kind of sucks. So, yeah, that's a little bit of an unfortunate thing to miss out on. And to this day, you still miss out on that. Or you might say it's a nice asset and perk that the top alliance gets. But, you know, I'll be quite forgiving of some pretty insidious design. But I really think the story, there's no point unlocking that off to great players, maybe. Well, I don't know. Isn't that essentially how WoW sold its raiding, right? They literally said the end of the campaign, the big story moments are in raids, right? They said get good at the game to see the end of the story. And that was a very powerful motivator for people that they just accepted over there in that franchise. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, so the book is a thing as well. I will do the book thing at a later date, possibly. Is this the first Guild Wars? Yeah, I'm not repping the wrong... Yeah, you're in the Guild Wars 1 section, so how are you confused on that? But yes, it's the first Guild Wars. Okay, so just a reminder, guys, we're trying to LFG to play Urgoz Warren. If anyone wants to join us, we need another 8 players right now. We've got 4 out of 8. We need 8 more of you to come join us. You don't need to have gone to... Oh, you don't need to have done anything on any campaign. Literally just come to Embark Beach. As long as you're level 20 and you can be at Embark Beach, I'm willing to have you. Alpha X Neo said, I got one of my wisdom teeth today. At least it doesn't look as bad. There we go. There's someone sweet. At least it doesn't look as bad as it feels. I have to work during your stream, so I'm going to be a sad tato. Oh my god. I get quite angry. I think as the older I get, the more of a hypochondriac I'm becoming. And the more concerned. Like, there's so many anecdotes people keep offering about, like, friends and family getting down, you know, struck by ridiculous afflictions and life snatched out before their eyes and stuff that I keep reading. I'm like, oh, it's a sign from the universe. I need to go to the doctors and get a checkup. I need to go get screenings and stuff. I'm becoming like a real hypochondriac. I'm 100% healthy and as agile and comfortable and everything I've been for the past 10 years. I'm perfectly fine, right? But I'm getting these anxieties, and wisdom teeth is one of them as well. I keep thinking, oh my god, there's going to be a day where I get my wisdom teeth. Oh, there's the day where I get my kidney stones. Oh, my appendix is going to go eventually. You know, I just keep thinking about these things that have to be looming on my horizon. You know, I just feel like I've been too healthy for too long, you know? And that I'll get struck down somewhere. And now I'm scared saying this out loud, that if suddenly I am now, this conversation will be like an ironic, like... Oh, see, he was saying he was too healthy days before he came down with it. I mean, it would be the worst thing, right? So please don't tell me about your wisdom teeth. You keep your problems to yourself here. All right, I'm sorry. I hope that you can get them out and it's not a painful procedure. Aloda said, I missed yesterday's stream. Did you do the Straits of Devastation meta event? Yeah, we did. It was pretty good, you know. I'm a very particular person with recording. I don't know whether you guys can really detect it in the videos. And it's got worse as time's gone on. You'd think as I get better at my craft, which hopefully I am, and, you know, more practice at my craft, you'd think I'd get a little bit more relaxed and easygoing about things. But I'm a really particular person with how I like to record. And I get really thrown off by little things. You know, like if someone's charging around in the meta event playing a musical instrument really loudly and drowning out all the dialogue, it really, like, unsettles me And so then I'm like, all right, I know I have to edit this out, but here's me going in the options and turning off screen shake and turning off camera instruments. And, oh, I forgot to turn off party chat, so they're openly talking about the LP down there. Is that a big mistake? All this is like whizzing through my head constantly as I'm basically just doing a regular video. So while, and you know, I'm scared that I'm missing out on stuff or the Zerg's getting bored and stuff. So it's really weird doing that straight to devastation video and the other bonus ones as well. I feel really on edge and unsettled while recording those because I'm just so particular about how I like to record. And I really don't like that about myself. I did the editing for the project today, though, and it comes out really good. I don't think it's very detectable. I think it just feels really fine and awesome, and the video itself is brilliant, and it's so cool having a whole Zerg there, guys. It's really badass. It feels so alive and rich and vibrant, the game. In some ways, I wish that the entire LP, whenever we had open world stuff, just had hordes of players around. What's really good, though, right, guys, is not having a squad where everyone's Zerging together really tightly. What's good is when you have the Zerg spread out over a large area, and people were kind of doing that on the event yesterday, but if, like, every time we were in the open world, we had at least 50, which we can easily get, right? People in that area of the map just, like, spread out all over the hills and glades and near different trees and all over. It just feels so cool, and the game feels so alive and badass. Even if it's a completely unrealistic, unnatural portrayal of what the experience of Guild Wars 2 actually is, it's still cool, and it makes the series feel better to me. But, yeah, so it was a good event. We did do straights, and it was lots of fun. Yeah, so we're going to do a Guild Wars 1 raid here today, guys. We're looking for more people. We're halfway full now, 6 out of 12. Like into Quartal where you showed chat with the behind the scenes info. When I saw it in the video, I was like, that shouldn't be there. Yeah, I got really fucking frustrated by that, actually, because the first thing I saw on Discord about the video was people saying, oh, I can't believe you showed LFG or something, and it's just people making idle observations, but I really tried to get every little thing perfect, and it really annoyed me. I was like, for fuck's sake, you know, I turn off screen shake, I refine the FOV, I find the perfect balance for the graphics so that the frame rate doesn't tank too much. I even edited mid-tech fight to bring the frame rate up so that you got the full Zerg at the start, but then the frame rate didn't tank. I do so many little things. Make sure the audio balance is right. Turn the music up so that you guys can hear the Black Citadel music playing a little bit better throughout the tech fight. Get that second run in and edit in the tidal waves at the right point. Try and do every little thing. And the first little thing I saw people talking about on Discord was, oh, he left LFG up. I can't believe he left that up. And I'm like, fuck's sake. You know, I'm juggling like 20 things. And I missed that one, and that's what people want to talk about. And I know people don't do it maliciously. It's just, there will always be something wrong. It's like when you clean your house. Everyone can understand this, right? When you clean your house perfectly, right? You've hoovered immaculately. You've dusted everything. Everything's clear and in its place, and you have your parents over for the first time in a while, right? And they come over and they say, oh, I think you should probably mop the floor in the kitchen or something, and you're like, fuck you, I did so much to impress you and make you think my house was good, but the only comment you can make is, oh, I gotta mop the floor. You know, it's essentially that, and that happens with the LPs all the time, and it's really frustrating, because just that seeking of perfection and never getting it, never, ever, ever getting it. There's always something wrong with every video. All right, here we go. That's 8 out of 8, so we have to go to Urgoz now. So for the last 4 players, what I'll do is I'll go there now. So we're going to double click the passage scroll to Urgoz Warren, and it's going to take our whole party. It should take our whole party. Yeah, it did. It didn't do a 10-second countdown, which is kind of fucked up. Down here, and you'll notice now we're in a new area with 12 players. So I'll talk about this in a second. Let's see if we can get those last 4. Now, I'm asking more for those last 4 because they need their own passage scrolls. If it's impossible to get the last 4 because they're going to be really casual players that don't have scrolls or anything, I'll go back to Embark Beach and ferry the rest through. I will need another scroll for myself, though, to do so. But we will do it that way. So, yeah, I really want to talk about the actual instance, but I guess I'll just hold off for a second here, just while we wait for a moment. Yeah, I know we were only going to get 8 out of 8 in Embark. I know. I just wanted to get the first 8 in full, at least. People will always point out slight imperfections, even though they could never produce something perfect themselves. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really a believer in... In some ways, I am a big believer in this, but I'm not a huge believer in... Unless you are as good, shut up. Like, you can't offer criticism unless you can create. I don't really believe in that. In some ways, I do. I think all things in moderation, obviously, right? And in some ways, there's a lot of value behind that sentiment. But I know that you don't have to be able to make YouTube videos to have relevant criticism about YouTube videos, because if you're the target audience, there is something you have to offer, you know. So I get that. It's just most of the time it's sort of irrelevant stuff that the creator has probably thought of already. That's the main caveat. But yeah, so the fact that a commenter or a person in Discord doesn't make their own videos, I don't think is a strike against them if they choose to criticize mine. You know, I spent many years as a fervent YouTube watcher, shall we say, you know, spending so much of my free time watching YouTube videos and LPers and stuff before I ever started. And you get opinions from watching enough of something. I get opinions from playing enough Guild Wars 2, right? And I think that there's some validity in those. Just because I never made Guild Wars 2 or another MMORPG, it doesn't mean that they're defunct, right? They're just probably not too useful. But, you know, like, watching a lot of stuff is what made me realize what my tastes were when creating stuff. So, you know, I would never sneer at someone for that. And I'm not, you know, I don't get particularly up. I don't get annoyed at the person. I get annoyed at myself, just to be clear. When I go in Discord and I see there's that little nitpick someone comment on, it's me that I get annoyed with, because you can't change people. People will be like that. They will nitpick. And, you know, they're trying to be nice as they nitpick as well, right? And they're just observations as well quite often. You know, whoever it was it you, Rain, that said that? Whoever observed, oh, chat's on screen, and says that out loud. That's not like some condemnation of the whole video. It's just the thing. It's just a thing they talked about, you know. And people shouldn't be scared to say that. And, you know, it's fine. It's me that gets annoyed with it. It's like, oh, fuck, I forgot that one thing. And sometimes it is useful, you know, if there's serious audio desync issues. Like, one of the episodes I fully reproduced because the desync was too bad, and I missed that. Without feedback, people wouldn't have given that to me. There should be a rare scroll vendor here at the outpost, really now. Alright, so we got one more. We're at 9 out of 12, so this is very special. Let's just talk about this side of things first. Yeah, this is ArenaNet's first foray into... How have we been live for half an hour already? Into end game content, really, from a PvE standpoint. I say first, you could suggest that Sorry's Furnace and Grent's Footprint was their first, or that the repurposed Tomb of the Primeval Kings was first. But in terms of releasing a product that I think it was a slightly later patch that this came in, maybe, or it was right on release. But releasing a product as a part of Factions that was like, hey, here's a whole new format of the game. And this is, so they did a lot to spice things up, right? You got campaign missions, like Minister's Chose Estate, Zen Daijan, everything you've been seeing throughout the series. Then you've got challenge missions, like the Dragon's Throats, like the Ultram Ruins, like the hidden one that we never went to all the way down here, which are still 8-man and, you know, not super difficult or anything, but they're competitive, and that's where the difficulty comes from, because you're competing on a scoreboard against other people. So the challenge missions never existed before Factions. So they added a whole new type of mission, the challenge mission. And then, finally, another new type of mission that doesn't even get an outpost or an icon on the world map because of its prestigious, specific way of getting in. These are elite missions. So you'll see that we're supposedly somewhere near House Zuhelzer, but we're actually in kind of an unmarked underground location, really, realistically. And the same would be for the deep. It makes a lot of sense for the deep because you actually are underground. Here, you're actually wandering through the forest, and it's not always underground. But basically, there is no icon here because of the way that they wanted people to get access to it. Only the best of the best should have been here, really. The people who got the most Alliance faction from doing the most PvE and PvP, they got this mission. And this is an elite mission. And this is like a whole new format. So that's what I mean when I say it's a new thing, because it's not just 8-man party. They bumped it to 12. Possibly aping their competitors in the market. We saw that they very quickly realized they didn't like the 12-man party idea, and I think they were right to move away from this. I think it was a mistake to do 12-man party. They're doing that kind of dumb, shallow thinking world versus world mentality where it's like, oh, add more players and it makes a better experience, when it utterly fucking doesn't, right? You get less impact and understanding of how you're impacting the fight. You just get, like, the giddy thrill of seeing a lot of people around you, which is great for a once or twice splash, but after that, you're sort of bored of it, right? It's just a lot of screen cut clutter, and eventually, you know, they went back with Nightfall to 8-man, and the Nightfall Elite mission, the Domain of Anguish, or missions, I should say, were 8-man. They stuck at 8-man for Eye of the North and Dungeons, which was their most refined thing. And then with Guild Wars 2, they said, you know what, 5 is probably the magic number, and they went for that. and they tried to do large-scale stuff in its own specific little niche, which was all its own problems, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, so... And I mean for competitive, for casual gameplay, large numbers is fine, right? And that's what I'm getting at. That's why it works for meta events. That's why it works for, dare I say, world versus world. That's why it works for a lot of the open world boss stuff in Guild Wars 2. Because if you're casual enough, you will still be excited by seeing a ton of players around you. But for an actual, like, repeatable heartbeat of the end game, you know, the actual pulse of what people do, there's no point going to so high numbers. I'm a believer in 5-man, 4-man, or even 2-man end games. I think that shit's awesome. But yeah, so anyway, this was their little experiment into 12-man. More players makes it more marketable to the morons out there that buy MMORPGs, right? So, hey, there you go. Let's pick up this guy. 2 more people. 10 out of 12. This is awesome. Tell all your friends. We're almost in. So, yeah, we'll continue filling them out. Compositionally, I think going up to 12-man did introduce some interesting new things. So, when I first ever got here, this was the first, like, elite thing I tried doing. I used to spend hours LFGing here, and it wasn't interesting gameplay. It wasn't fun. I do have nostalgia goggles on. It was pretty goddamn crap, to be honest. But I used to stand here for hours and hours and hours on my assassin. Remember I told you guys I played an assassin in Guild Wars 1 factions? But there was no role for assassins here. They were too squishy to frontline. They couldn't really do much. However, there was a specific comp people were using when I first got here, which was a crit barrage way comp. Sorry, just a barrage comp, right? Where essentially you stacked tons of rangers. And what you guys have got to understand is that we're going to be fighting enormous armies of stuff. And it is epic. By the way, that casual thing that I'm sneering so derisively at the moment, it is epic. And we will see it, right? There's enormous waves of mobs. And because we are casuals right now, we're going to really enjoy seeing it. That are going to be tunneled through tiny little corridors and really epic, immense, large-scale LOSs and stuff. It's pretty goddamn badass, right? Now, one of the main comps, there you go with 12 out of 12. I love seeing a Paragon there, by the way. That's awesome. I'll talk about that in a second. One of the main comps people did back when I started, after things were a bit established and things settled down, but there was still a bit of prestige to this, was Ranger Way comps, where you would have tons of Rangers, all with pets. The pets would run forward and be your meat shield, a bit like minion monsters. And all of the dredge and enormous waves of creatures we're about to fight would get caught on them. And the rangers would stand back using barrage. And we would have spirits like Edge of Extinction up. And you'd have like a Necro splashing barbs around. And, you know, a Splinter Weapon would go onto the barrages and you just sort of nuke the waves. It was a really refined, awesome kind of comp that Guild Wars 2 Buildcrafts never really created something so visually awesome, because where it's so narrow in scope of what it was attempting to do, it really, you could see like the front line, then the back line, then the monk behind with the rangers, then the monk just behind that. The spirits would be established back with the monks. The pets would have run forward to establish your front line, and you would have just had all these arrows just splintering forward, you know, some 300 style stuff, but before the movie even came out. It was awesome. It was really, really cool. But I was a lowly assassin, and I couldn't really play. But I found on one of the PvX wikis of the time, I don't think it was PvX wiki yet, I think it was something else. I found a crit barrage build, where basically an assassin would take a skill called Way of Perfection, which upped your crit chance if you weren't using daggers or something. And the idea was you'd use barrage, but you would be an assassin primary. And the idea is every time you use barrage, each arrow would fly out. Each one would have a chance to crit. And if it did crit, it would give you energy back to cast your next barrage, which was a way you could spam barrage without having expertise, which is what rangers rely on for energy management to reduce the energy cost of barrage. So it would be a crit barrager. And frankly, it was just a worse build, but it was a possibility for assassins to get in. So I used to spend hours and hours and hours on my assassin. This was the only way I could get in at the time, trying to join groups as a crit barrager. But the thing is, people were really discriminatory. People think that people are discriminatory in Guild Wars 2 raids at the aerodrome and at dungeons and shit. You people don't know anything if you think that that's discriminatory. This is like real shit. It was horrible. Sitting around for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. I'm so sorry to this person who can't come. And the worst thing was, the only groups that would take you would genuinely be bad groups. They would, you know, the people who are willing to risk it on an assassin crit barrage are the desperate ones who keep wiping in there or who don't really understand the game. And most of my groups, whenever I came into this place, would fail. And people would, I'll talk more about the format in a second, but they would fail. over time, people would realize it's bad, and you'd get DCs and stuff, and it would, you know, it would crumble, and I'd come back, and LFG would be bad again. And, you know, that was all negative experiences. Let me just say, that was all really negative experiences. And yet, why is it that when I sit here in 2018, I'm nostalgic and have fond memories of it? Why? Were my standards just low back then, or is it nostalgia goggles, pure and simple? And I think it might just be that. I really think that as people, as humans, we have this thing where over time we gloss over all the negative shit and just remember what was good. Like, I do that so much in my life. If I think about all the different experiences I had when I was a kid, when I was an early teen, a late teen, at the various phases of my life, and I look back at the things I used to be into, and it's all happy memories, all of it. And yet the truth is, every phase of my life, there was something crap going on, something bagging me down, something that I was busy stressing about that I shouldn't have been stressing about. And yet, looking back in retrospect, that just all gets cleaned away and only the positive remains. And I don't know whether that's a beautiful aspect of humanity or what, but it definitely damages MMO discussion. When a lot of people looking for MMO quality and content get clouded by it and jaded by it and messed up by it. I don't know whether 12... I'm almost 100% positive 12 parties... 12-man parties was not a good idea for Guild Wars 1, and the way that the comps and stuff was set up, and especially how narrow-minded this all was, it wasn't good, and I would never advocate for it in a new product. However, I say that very hypocritically, knowing full well I have happy, fond memories of standing in this fucking outpost looking around as I wander around here. I don't know what else to say. There you go. So, let's talk about the format that this endgame is. It's completely different to Guild Wars 2 raiding. And I was actually hoping Guild Wars 2 raiding would be like this, but it's not. And again, this could be nostalgia goggles that's clouding my vision, because maybe this is a terrible format. This is kind of like... what's a good example? I'm going to use the word old school. I wish I had a real example for you. But this is... let's not couch it that way at all. This is a mechanic of attrition. It's all about getting ground down over hours and hours and hours. And eventually you fuck up and get kicked out. Guild Wars 2 is the complete reverse of that. It's high impact, adrenaline-fueled, little few-minute encounters. And you have to be perfect for those few minutes, but you get through it and then you're off, right? And it's just little adrenaline shots. Guild Wars 2 is Super Meat Boy. This game is much more old school RPG, long grinding, exercises in frustration and beauty at the same time. But the lows of Guild Wars 2 raids are much more tolerable than the lows of Guild Wars 1's factions, elite missions, at least. Domain of Anguish, they already started changing stuff, and dungeons they started as well. But basically the idea of this, and I'm talking about launch balance now. A lot of you guys might be looking at me and thinking, dude, they cleared Urgoz in 8 minutes now. You know, there's like 8-minute deep clears, and there's like ludicrous speed clear times. Ignoring all of that, the actual way that the game released and the state that pugs were in, it was genuinely an hours-long adventure, this. It was like 3 hours was not a rare amount of time for a pug to go through this. 4 hours even pushing it. And so what would happen is, because you couldn't reconnect mid-instance and there was no quality of life anywhere, if halfway through this guy, Lanasai, you know, has to go eat dinner, he just logs out on you and you're down from 12 to 11. Or maybe this guy, because it's fucking 2007 internet, lags out because he's OCX or something. Or not even that, just because it's 2007. Boom, he's gone. You're down to 10. And so what would happen is slowly your team would just dwindle and dwindle and dwindle and dwindle. Maybe people rage quit because it takes you so long to get through the rooms. And there's like 13 rooms you have to go through. And so you'd go in on a pug, you'd be doing well, and you'd be like, okay, can we get to this room before there's ADC? Can we get through this room before there's another one? And that's what I'm talking about, is a mechanic of attrition. But not just that, right? That's not even necessarily by design from the devs. That's what pugs were genuinely struggling with. And again, for some reason I have fond memories of. But by design it is as well. Death penalty, constantly racking up. When this first came out, clearing death penalty was not actually that clean, right? And easy to do and bypass via cons. There were no regular concepts either. So there were just these massive, grueling, difficult battles that the death penalty would continue racking up on your group, and you might get kicked out by the end. And wipe. And the other thing is, it's trolly as shit. And again, I'm 100% confident that this design is terrible, but it is really trolly in here. It's literally like, enter a room, oh, what's going on? And then, oh, sorry, we have no dialogue for you, no telegraphing for you. There's a million one-shot mobs that have just spawned behind you, and they're going to blow up your whole group. Sorry you didn't know that already. Try again. This time, you know, with that knowledge. And it was kind of an interesting, and I use the word old school, it was kind of a thing where what the devs were doing by trolling with their design, blatantly trolling, you might call it inept and whatever, but it's one of those things that early MMOs used to do, I think, that really allowed them, caused them to lean on community discussion and collaboration for stuff, because the information... Yeah, and you got to remember, wikis and guides and the hoarding of information was a little bit more tight and close-knit back then. Just a little bit. We were on the cusp, right? So the MMOs could kind of get away with it. The idea was, you're taught, you come in, it's an MMO, and you're typing to your buddies saying, okay, I've never been into this room. Has anyone seen it? And they're like, yeah, it's a really narrow bridge. There's loads of fiery things, and by the way, that are burning us. We have to get across it quick. But by the way, when you get to the far end of the bridge, you're going to be blocked in by these ridiculous thorn wolves things. Just by the way. The only way you'd get that is through communicating with other people. And so if you have a lot of memories of talking a lot and really feeling like they were cooperative experiences, that's the kind of shit that caused that to happen. In MMO design of today, with the way that guides work and YouTube videos propagate information, and there's no point doing design like that anymore, because it's almost worthless in a lot of ways, and they'd rather give you that information up front and not troll you. But what it also means is there's even less reason to communicate with other human beings. So, you know, there was a whole facet and a whole side of these elite missions that I've really got to explain to you guys. There was a lot of typing in chat, a lot more than you've ever experienced in any Guild Wars 2 dungeon or raid. A lot. And I include even using voice comms like Discord and TeamSpeak and stuff like that. People really relied on one another. And again, I'm talking about the release early stuff. I'm talking about a very thin slice of maybe 6 to 8 months after factions came out and around when factions came out. Of which the first couple, where there was a lot of prestige and hype, you know, and the jostling of alliances for it, even I missed. But yeah, so you know, there was a lot of that, and it's pretty formidable, pretty trolly, and gross, really. So there you go. That's what we're coming up against nowadays. Power creep, concepts, all that bollocks. PvE skills. We have 12 real humans. Each of them is likely to bring 3 PvE skills. The truth is here, we're gonna destroy this probably. The question is normal or hard mode, and I'm gonna ask that to the in-game party now. Can everybody not ready up? Okay, everybody de-ready up. Say you're not ready, and once all the green ticks have disappeared. And only once all the green ticks have disappeared. We have to wait for stream delay for everyone to listen. Once everyone's de-readied up, can you guys ready up if you are confident for hard mode? It looks like this Commander 1 guy isn't de-readying. So, whatever. We'll ignore the Commander 1. Everyone else, the other 10 people, put a green check if you think that you're good enough, and we'll have the consets and blah, blah, blah to do hard mode. If you are confident for hard mode, click the ready check. If enough of us are confident for it, I'll put it in hard mode. Otherwise, I'll go normal. I don't want this stream to be like some behemoth, you know, where we struggle and die and stuff. So I only want to do hard mode if people are confident with it. One person's confident. We'll talk about the lore as we get in. Turtle. Actually, it's really hard to talk about lore because we get no outpost description and we miss the dialogue about coming in. Basically, guys, what you find out is there's a big leader of the Wardens, essentially, and of a tree, I think they even suggest, who got corrupted by the Jade Wind. And it's like this, I think they even refer to it as a spirit, a powerful spirit or something. We'll see when we get in there. And essentially the idea is, you know, if we're assuming the Wardens might be of a pale tree here in the forest, and, you know, they are like Sylvarian, if you buy into all that stuff, then you've got to look at Urgoz and how Urgoz was connected to the Wardens. And Urgoz would be most fitting as a parallel to the pale tree. Alright, very few people are confident, so whatever. We won't do hard modes. That's fine. We'll still get all the content, it's just that enemies will be less dangerous. So, yeah, then the other thing I want to do is, can all the writs ping their builds? Because I don't know what we're going to overlap. There'll be a real problem. So, the first writ here is Shortax, who is running a healer. The next writ, who's another ritualist, is Soma and Kandra. Can Soma and Kandra ping your builds? Here's Kandra's build. Is running a Soul Twister with Great Dwarf Weapon. Hype. Okay, so Soul Twister's fine. That doesn't overlap with us with a Spirit Spammer. And then the other one is Soma, isn't it? Soma's the last one? Soma is a Spirit Spammer, okay? So this person is telling us we can't be a spirit spammer because they're running the same spirits as us. They don't have... There's a couple of offensive spirits they don't have that we do, right? He's not running Pain for some reason. So I can keep Pain on my bar. And Shadow Song, there's no Shadow Song either. So I can run Shadow Song and Pain, but the other spirits are all covered already. So let's do those two. I'll get rid of Vampirism, Signet of Spirits, all of that. Okay. So then there's the question of our build. I'm going to run an MM, guys. I'm not even going to put a vote up. I want to run an MM. Screw it. So if that other guy's using Great Dwarf Weapon for the Assassin and stuff, I wouldn't want to overwrite that. So I'm going to run a Communing Minion Monster. So we're going to go like this. We're going to go Spawning Power. Does Spawning Power proc our minions? I can't remember. Creatures you create or animate have more health. Yeah, look at that. Wow. So we're going to have super tanky ones. There's going to be millions of mobs here, by the way, so it's perfectly fine and viable for us to do this. The only question is, what do we want our elite to be? I guess I'll run Wanderlust, right? That's Communing, and that's a spirit that no one else will have. Fine, that's all right. This will be the first time we've done a hybrid minion slash thingy-mancer. I'll go Shambling Horrors, Bone Minions. Energy Management on Boon of Creation will be fine, I think. We could do pure Bone Fiends. They're the high DPS ones, but screw that. They should stay alive as well because of Boon of Creation. But maybe I should take Blood of the Master just to sustain it a bit. Nah, screw that. I also want my Death Magic at 12 instead of the Spawning Power version. We can change the helmet as well to be a Communing helmet. Let's go back to the Spawning Power helmet. That's good. I like that. Because the Spawning Power buffs the minions as well, so it's kind of like dipping into death a little bit too. I guess we can run Necrosis just as a spammy kind of hey for funsies thing. And then maybe Death Nova at the end here. You don't need Necrotic Traversal anymore for this mission, right? There was a really dumb and weird skill interaction from basically broken design, as far as I can tell, that they just left in because the community found a way around it for years. But I think they fixed it eventually. So yeah, we can spam Necrosis. Juggle 2 enchantments on ourselves. Spirits on the left, minions on the right. 10 out of 10 builds. Hell yeah. Alright. The only other one I'd like is Explosive Growth, but I'm going to be standing back a lot more, so it's a silly idea, I think. Well, Explosive Growth plus minions, and the minion gets summoned on the corpse, which will be balled up with all the enemies. Explosive Growth could be really fun. Should we do Explosive Growth instead of Death Nova? Yeah, this will just be more fun, I think. So screw it. Let's just do this hybrid weird nonsense. Now, I really hope that people aren't bringing Wanderlust, Pain, or Shadow Song, because they're going to be useless otherwise. Let me check this guy's build again. He definitely doesn't have those, right? Yeah, he doesn't. He's bumped up Communing to max without using any Communing skill. Oh, no, he has. He's got Bloodsong and Anguish, of course. All right, okay. So there we go. That's the mission. Let's go on in. I would ramble more, but I hope we're ready. Oh, wait. Let's ready check now. Everybody ready up. When you're ready for the actual going in now, let's ready up and see how we do. Is he always this descriptive in his streams? Yeah, basically. I mean, I'm here to talk, right? If you just want to watch people silently playing the game, you've got thousands to choose from. That's like a pretty low bar. You thought yesterday was last factions? Yes, that's why today's stream is a bonus factions. Yeah, I know I needed another skill. How many PvE slots have I filled in here? 1. That's fine, whatever. I don't care about getting signets of capture and stuff here. There you go, everybody's ready. In we go. Let's do it, guys. So I will just wrap out what I remember about this. I really hope someone's going to pop a concept, by the way. It's because, oh, people are talking about the psychology of culling out bad stuff in your memory. And someone said because you'd go insane if you remember all the bad stuff, maybe. All right, so you have to be really precise and careful here, by the way. You see this Kurzik Architect that runs towards you? What essentially happens is when we walk down this corridor, we're going to get jumped from behind by creatures called Hopping Vampires. And the Hopping Vampires use touch skills on you that kills themselves and you instantly, automatically. Did this person leave or did they just not get to join yet? So we have to be really careful about that. Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about is this Paragon. Listen, because we have a 12-man party, Paragons are awesome if you can add just one, because stuff like Anthem of Flame, which procs on party members, he can hit 11 other people with now instead of just 7 other people, which is obscene, all right? So his energy management from leadership and stuff, he gets ridiculous value. If he can spam, like, save yourselves and stuff, we might overlap a lot, but he gets crazy value out of that stuff. There you go. Everyone's here. Concept's up. So as I walk forwards, if you look on the mini-map behind us, I'll talk about the fact I just got weakness there. You see a wave of hopping vampires spawns in front of us. Looking at the mini-map, you can see there's a lot. But behind us, you get these ones here too, these Thought Stealers. And what they do is they kill themselves to instantly rip all of your energy off of you. And then the hopping vampires do the same, but for your health bars. So we've got to clear them down. They're pretty squishy, but that's just immediately the kind of trolly shit that ArenaNet would pull in the early days. So yeah, so with those cleared, we can now continue along. This is the entrance, by the way. This is literally the hub where we were LFGing, as you can see here. Why do I see an NPC up here? Oh, that's the architect. He ran off. I don't think he has any dialogue for us. You'll notice that there's basically no dialogue as well. It's just because it's all from that gate guard, you know. Here you go. My team was sent here to build an access ramp to some levers. It turns out the teleport in that room was installed backwards. We managed to finish the ramp, but we were beset by hopping vampires on our way. One touch is fatal. If you run into them, keep your distance or you'll wind up like the rest of my team. Was he newly added when they removed the necrotic traversal mechanic? I wonder. But yeah, if you look at the minimap here, you will see loads of red dots. This is something that Guild Wars 2 raiding has still never really managed to do, despite the fact they went all the way back up to 10-man. Give that sensation that there's just ridiculous numbers of things that you're waiting against. And I've always been disappointed in that with Guild Wars 2 raiding. So yeah, let's get going. I'm going to pull my minion panel up. And yeah, so there's going to be a ton to talk about here. Let's get some spirits going. And see how quickly Wanderlust and stuff dies. You'll notice that all these dredge, there's loads of double exclamation marks popping above their heads. The double exclamation marks are from a Mesmer hex. So one of the Mesmers on our team is hexing them. And it's a skill called Panic. What it means is all of them get hexed with Panic. And whenever one of them successfully uses a skill, he interrupts all of the people around him. So every single one of those double exclamation marks you see is us cancelling an attack or an ability being procced, which, just by the way, is sort of ridiculous. Especially in these elite missions where there's so many mobs around. It's kind of like saying, yeah, you've got a ton of enemies, but you're always going to have a hard limit on how many skills you can get off. It's like one of the ridiculous examples of power creep that basically completely breaks this kind of content and makes it really easy. And one of the ways in which Mesmer became so power crept later on. So, yeah. Pretty nutty, to be honest. So we should have 12 death magic, so we can get 8 minions, right? 8 minions plus 3 of the spirits should be good. So, yeah, next there's the fact I've got weakness on me. Now, oh, well, mind you, I get 1 less because I have weakness. Oh, but then we get 1 more because of the Grail. Anyway, as we go through Urgoz, you get these big chambers, these big rooms. You're already looking at 20 minutes to half an hour of gameplay, by the way, that we've just already done for those early day things. Because you clear out lots of the side groups and stuff as well. We should get charged by about 1 million mobs in a second, shouldn't we? We're moving so fast. Basically, each room has that thing, the essence of the twisting barks. And what they are is they're corrupted things out here in the forest that put massive debuffs around in the air. Think of them a bit like Guild Wars 2 Fractal's instabilities. So the instability of this room is everyone has weakness on them. Which, by the way, really sucked for crit barrage groups, or just barrage groups, because it meant that the first wave was annoying as all hell to get through. You know, weakness reduces your primary attributes and stuff. So, only when you kill the twisting thing of that area can you cleanse yourself of it. And that's kind of a different flavor to every encounter you go through. So, we'll be under the effects of a new one when we get towards this door. The other big mechanic here is, as we move forward, so there's loads of dredge, by the way. Why there are so many dredge in Urgoz Warren is never explained. It's not really a part of the story. It's just, hey, look, there's dredge. Have fun. Another mechanic is there are going to be closed doors quite frequently. And to get through the door, you have to kill these things called the Guardian Serpents. Now, the Guardian Serpents, realistically, why they exist is to stop runners in the early days. Where, you know, if you tried to solo, if you shadow form ran through or something, you managed to get by all the dredge and you were a super tank, you would never be able to get through this door because you'd have to kill the Guardian Serpent. And that's the only way to open it. But there was no build that was power crept enough that could do that. These days, what you tend to find with these like really fast clears is people just charge past everything, all proc a single dwarven skill. You move like a dwarf and use finish him, and they just instantly kill the worms anyway, and then charge through, even on hard mode. So yeah, it's kind of nuts. Here's a really big challenging one. You can see my minions are really struggling. We have a twisting bark here that puts an epic degen on the entire group. The idea is actually to pull the mobs back out of range and clear them out. Back in the old days, that's how we used to do things. It seems we're just going balls to the wall here. Guys, this is not... No, come back. I hope people have reses. Come back, guys. Out of range of the thing. Just pull them. Oh, dear. Okay, so power creep. This is a good example. People really obviously don't know how to do Urgoz here. It's just power creep that's carried us. We have to pull back through. Maybe they were charging through trying to burst the bark down, but again, I don't think we really have the coordination for that. Okay, so all these people now have death penalty. This is kind of cool, because this is what it was like, right? It was, well, it wasn't like this. Everyone knew, right? So we have a job now of rezzing. Does anyone left alive have a res scroll or res skills? Those Eye of the North skill items were so broken, man. A res scroll that literally just removes the necessity to have a res skill on your bar. People are saying no in chat that they don't have the stuff. No one has it. Oh, really, guys? You've embarrassed yourselves. Okay, now here you go. Lovely. No, but that person's dead. It doesn't matter if you have a res skill when you're dead. Morio Matsu says, I have flesh of my... I have renewed life. Look at that. Awesome. Okay, so we got to escort our Ellie now in to res some of the dead players. So go for King of Cocoa first. I'll ping him. King of Cocoa. I'll use party chat here as well. Sorry, I'll move my UI so that you guys can see. Yeah, up here we'll do it. This is my party chat. Yeah, it's not unheard of, by the way, to just run in there and clear it really quickly, but you have to be comped properly. You need good pressure cooker healing and stuff. So once King of Cocoa gets up, it will aggro the dredge and they'll run over to us and we fight them over here. Oh no, he got out without even being hit. That's fine. No, why did you die? Oh, what? Does King of Cocoa have a res? Obviously not. He's a warrior assassin. How did you die? Wait, what's going on here? Are people come back to life? All right, guys, we have to fight now. We actually have to kill him. I don't understand. How did the person resurrecting die? It wasn't a touch res skill, was it? Renew life. I don't remember what that does. That's not like a melee res, is it? That forced them to run right into the mobs. I seriously hope not. Oh, someone's running Asuran Superiority as well. That's an excellent skill. We don't have the choice of running that because that's an Asuran ability. Necrosis isn't going to proc. Oh, it did, I think. Maybe right at the end. Asuran Superiority is awesome because what it does is gives you boons every time people die. And there's tons of mobs that are going to be around. I think we've wiped, guys. There's only 3 left. Do any of these people have res skills? I certainly don't. I didn't realize the team would rely on me so heavily to explain every little mechanic. Unless someone's got an item of a res scroll, we're done. We got to redo the whole instance now. Do I have a res scroll? I thought I gave you one, said Serial Experiments. Nope. I don't remember ever getting one throughout the series. I don't have one, no. Alright. I'm resigning. Okay, I'll be more careful as we go through to explain what's going on for people. How did you guys not realize you were getting degened, by the way? So basically, the twisting bark that applies the degen is really deep in the room. And the idea is you grab the stuff, you put it back, you fight it here, and then you go forwards. Everyone resign. We've got to wait for 12 people to figure out how to type /resign now as well. Oh, it is a touch res, and he died to degen. Ah, okay. That's, by the way, the touch res skills are awful for that reason. Hopefully you learned that lesson there. The better res skills are the ones you can use at range, and then just have the corpse that becomes a person run back through. Dervish healer Dervish killed assassin healer so hard that people didn't know if the assassin was as good as he was. What do you mean? What am I missing? The comp is not the problem, guys. Our Paragon left. He's re-rolling to Ellie, he says. The comp isn't the problem. The problem is bad play. I can't believe what I'm reading in chat there. It's like I'm Guild Wars 2 raiding right now, where people are like, oh, I need to swap to this. It's no, you're not dodging. You're not doing X, Y, or Z. We'll wait for this person to come back. It's okay to swap. I mean, I don't mind, but yeah, it's that we ran into the massive field of degen. So don't worry. Yeah, I might bring a res skill now because I've lost a lot of confidence. We'll do amazingly. Let's swap Boon of Creation. No, I kind of like it, man. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep Explosive Growth. Oh, here you go. Lovely Mixie. Thanks, man. Has given us 2 res scrolls. So this is a totally broken item that should never have been implemented. Fight me, ArenaNet. This is, I can double click it and res all party members that are in earshot to back to life. With 25% health, no, and energy, which isn't great, but it basically means as long as you stock up on this, you can break the design of the buildcraft, which is kind of nuts. All right, let's go back in. Oh, I'll do a ready check because people might be changing their builds. Okay, ready up, guys. Here we go. We're an hour into the stream and we've not started yet. Here we go, guys. Let's go. Stance element. This is the Paragon. He'll probably need to change some stuff, so that's fair. Looks like I'm not going to make the Pokemon Marathon. Yeah, I know, right? I know. God, guys. Yeah, so pressure cooker healing is a term I used a second ago there. Someone was saying some of them in chat. So, like, if you use the skill Heal Party, a monk skill, it heals everyone for a flat amount. So it's really good to counter broad pressure like that. The PvP formats of the game had interesting, you know, comps where some comps would be all about pressure degen across the whole team, spreading disease, hexes, and other comps would be about spiking people like R-Spike and, you know, picking people off. Or you could do a hybrid where you try and do a bit of both. And what that requires of your monks then to deal with it is different each time. But yeah, like heal area, there's different skills suited to different kind of pressure that you deal with. Yeah, and a concept won't save us from running into mass degen. Okay, everybody's here, spawning the vampires. I guess I can just create some spirits here, and the vampires might attack the spirits instead of us. And waste their skills on the spirits, which is kind of hilarious. The Thought Stealers are dead. Alright, so let's go on through. Yeah, so the fact you see that this range, you see we've all got weakness on us, the whole party, right? And the bark is all the way over there. In the next room, it's a like, no, why am I I tried to press space to cancel cast Necrosis there. It's a big wide room, with like a winding path. You're not going to be able to race to the twisting bark with like a comp that's not thought about setting that kind of stuff up. But yeah, you see this huge mob here, all these different packets. Back in the day, what you would do... Oh, I can't believe I cancel cast that. I'm playing awful. What you'd do is you'd run back into this corridor and all the dredge would have like they'd be shoulder to shoulder in here, right? And they'd be hit with a front line of pets. And then you and all your rangers would be back here just blasting in. And that's how it would work, right? And then you'd have like your monks and things even further back, your nature rituals back by the door. And that was kind of the idea of the crypt barrage. And I have a lot of memories of this first corridor, actually. Wow, people are getting wrecked. Sorry, I wasn't fighting there because I thought that we'd be fine. Do we not have save yourselves? Do we not have... This is bad. This is like, we cannot beat Urgoz normal mode right now. I'm serious. What a failure! What a nightmare! Oh my god! Oh, guys, what? So the Paragon left on the Paras, so do they not have... Yeah, what supports do we have? Do we have any healers anymore? We had a Writ healer, right? One. We've got Shelter. We've got a Soul Twister. Were we that reliant on Panic before? I mean, I thought that we'd just be able to face roll through without doing proper pulls and stuff. Look, ArenaNet bite back. See, the game isn't power crept. So we can res everyone. Do we try this, though? Is there any point? I mean, someone popped an essence. No, they didn't pop an essence. So here, flesh of my flesh, halves his health, brings the guy back. This here is kind of a problem because the gardeners will aggro more, that will aggro more, that will aggro more. But here, this should be alright. Look, we got enough people. We can take these out. It just might lead to a huge string that's unending of the entire group. But having them staggered like this is okay. We're only going to be standing around waiting on res cooldowns anyway. Start getting some minions rolling. And I can obviously summon stuff out of my allies' corpses. There, he got rezzed mid-cast, so I think it might cancel. No, it didn't. Okay. So, we may have to be really careful. I don't know whether I want to do Urgoz on a comp that struggles with the first pull. That's the thing. Because it might be a nightmare. It could be really fun and, like, really intense and cool streaming. But at the same time, I don't want to be here all day. So we'll see. We'll just see how this next pull goes. Let's put them back. Let the minions be a meat shield. Let the spirits be a meat shield. Let panic properly get them when they're bulled up. And start blowing them up. I wonder what AoE and stuff we've got. I'll get some necrosis out. Why did my necrosis only do 72 there? I wonder what's reducing it. Oh, is it because weakness is reducing my rank? That can't be right. My god, my minions die quick. We need some kill momentum to, you know... Here you go, we do have save yourselves in the comp. It's just whoever's casting it only has 5-second duration and terrible endurance uptime. Adrenaline uptime. Actually, mind you, does that get screwed by weakness? Does weakness reduce their ability to crit and stuff? Like it does in Guild Wars 2? I can't remember anymore. Right, moving through nice and slowly. There we go. Alright, guys. We're proving ourselves. The embarrassment is being avoided here. Hey, WUP, my tarot card deck just arrived. Will you be making a video when you get one of yours? Actually, yeah. Oh, I need to speak to someone on Discord about that. I'm really excited about it. I don't know how things will go with it at the moment. I've still got the skill pin video I want to do first. But, yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I just haven't put some time into it that I need to. Okay, so there you see we're getting amber chunks straight up. You can get jade from the deep in a similar way. I may as well pick this up. And let's keep on going. So yeah, we get no Essence of Celerity as well, which is the most powerful of all the cons in a concert, I think. But hey, that should be fine. Let's keep Wanderlust up, keep some knockdowns rolling. It is a really weird build, right? If Painful Bond procced on minions, woof, and it was spawning power, that would have led to a real breed of minion-mancing necros. Weakness doesn't affect adrenaline building in this one. Okay. WP, I just found it interesting yesterday how you called Guild Wars 1 face roll. I just started a new account, and when you have no guild, no other players with you, no skills, no money, and try the story of henchmen, it's actually really difficult. I know that people byline for heroes, but I got prophecies only, and it's incredibly hard. I wonder if your perception of its difficulty affects new players who... Yeah, okay, so I probably do describe it poorly. When I say that prophecies, when I say that Guild Wars is a face roll, what I mean is you hit a level with Guild Wars 1, not prophecies, just Guild Wars 1 in general as a player who's going for your Hall of Monument stuff. Like when you're doing your vanquishes and your campaign missions, once you get to a certain point with your heroes, and it's not that long to get to, there is quite a bit of progression to get there. I was talking about that in yesterday's stream. But once you get to a certain level, the game is face roll. Everything about it is like really brain dead. However, you are right that a first-time prophecies-only account will have challenges, definitely. If you only have henchies and you're just starting out, I believe you. I understand fully, and that still preserved that. And that's actually one of the reasons I would recommend prophecies. So, early prophecies and starting out there instead of Nightfall definitely is like, it's a real RPG. You have to think about the game. It's not a face roll. It's not Guild Wars 2 Personal Story. I loathe Guild Wars 2 Personal Story for what it is as a face roll. And the reason I recommend prophecies as a first time is because it's not that. It's not a face roll your first time through. When I say that Guild Wars 1 is a face roll, I mean like later. I mean the equivalent of once you're at level 80 for Guild Wars 2, I guess, or whatever. Does that make sense? So that's really what I'm trying to articulate with that. Probably very poorly. But yeah. I can definitely imagine if you only have henchmen, because the henchmen aren't great. But that's good, right? That's good. It makes you think about the game and understand the game and have memories from the game instead of just bullshit. Right, guys, so we're going to pull them back, okay? I'll go out and pull them, and then you guys... Actually, I would rather not pull them. I'd rather my minions don't die out there. Someone else pull them. I'd rather keep my minions here. I've just realised Boon of Creation is not the spell I wanted. The spell I wanted was whatever we were using in JQ the other day. What was it? Yeah, Spirit's Gift. That's what I wanted. God, I wish I could swap that now. It's this. I want Spirit's Gift instead of Explosive Growth, probably. Because that would sustain our stuff. That would be good pressure cooker healing. That makes sense. You mean after you've done all campaigns and start hard mode kind of thing? Yeah, even before that a little bit, honestly. If you play Prophecies, Factions, Nightfall, and as you go through Nightfall, you actually pay attention. As you go through all of it, you pay attention to the kind of builds that are out there, and if you comp the heroes and stuff, you will find that the game becomes a face roll even before the end of Nightfall. But yeah, certainly the main experience of playing Guild Wars 1, which is after that, you know, first little run through, that's the face roll bit, definitely, yeah. So yeah, we can see that this guy's pulling him out. He's getting low. And again, if I was running heal party as a monk right now, I could splash heals on him without risking aggro myself, you know, from all the way back here. Even though he's getting low. This is, by the way, super exciting, being the one guy against an army that does the pull. There's no sense of that in Guild Wars 2. Especially the Deep had a lot of really cool tanking scenarios and setups. But being the tank that orchestrates a good pull in a large army-oriented situation, Guild Wars 2 raiding misses out on. Because it's not about that kind of management and pulling. So my minions are going to get destroyed by going in there. As you can see, they're getting degen to death. Super hardcore. But whatever. Okay, so with that group done, is he going to get another group? He's running out ahead, so maybe he will. This, by the way, is one of the more challenging bits with the degen. There's another degen section coming up later. I'm hoping that we won't stall in our movement through the Warren too much. I think after this next wave of blood drinkers and vampires and things, we should be alright. There you go, they're bombing them through the corner there. I'll get some 90 damage out there. You notice the level of all the mobs as well. They're all level 28, which is like reserved for Shiroken and stuff in the main campaign, so they're all super deadly. If he can get this next ball, we're good. He's going for it. You're in the Maguma jungle on a Necro with only henchmen and no cons or anything, and it's so grindy. It's really fun thinking about what quests I'll need to actually unlock skills. Really? Grindy is the word you use. That's interesting. I would never think of the word grindy. But, yeah, that's awesome, man. That's actually really, really kind of cool. Maybe I should do a Zero to Hero Prophecies thing, refresh myself on that experience. There's just too much in this franchise now to have your head on, screwed on for every little aspect of it. Alright, so let's come back a little bit. Let's heal up, and then maybe we can push through. Or can he get that next ball as well? I mean, all of these mobs you could fight all at once, or even bypass. This is very similar to what it used to be like back in the day, guys. You know, when we ran through that room and I said that's about half an hour of gameplay, I mean, I'm not lying. If you look at it here, we've been here maybe, what, 6, 7 minutes already? Can easily stretch to 10 or 20 if each group is a challenge. I think we can kill the bark. All right, let's go then, guys. Let's do it. Let's go, go, go. So, yeah, there's special chests and things here. So, here you go. Here's the bark. He's going to try and heal himself as well. Making them healers is such a cool thing. But if I get Wanderlust on him, he should just get perma-interrupted. And there you go. Now we're not degened anymore, and that's how you get through the room. And do you feel that breath of fresh air? It's like, oh, there you go. That's how you do it. Every single room we go through will be like, okay, what's the mechanic to do it? What's the trick to fix it, to get through this challenge? And, you know, that's this one. Sometimes it's really trolly shit as well, by the way. So I guess I should probably really deeply explain what's going on. I don't remember it perfectly anymore, though. Alright, so basically we can go around the corner, kill another serpent, get through another door, and we're at the fire bridge encounter, which also would be the point that a lot of people die and wipe and end up leaving. At this point, when you get to the bridge, you'd have like a few DCs already. Like, almost certainly have a few DCs already. There'll be lots of pop-ups as we go through, just as you see the ones that I procced there. Hey, did someone just sub? Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate the support on these Guild Wars 1 streams. That's so cool. Thank you very much. Let me have a look at who you were. Let's see. I'm loading it up. Oh, it's Flag. It's good to see you, Flag. 14 months into 15. Pretty hype. Maybe ask if someone has an essence. Yeah, an essence would be super strong. I'm not going to ask that from people, though. I don't like the idea of them spending money on me or this project or anything like that. I'm sure if someone had one, they would have procced it. Someone did our first run, but then we wiped. And I would understand if they're feeling a bit salty and don't want to... Oh, somebody did have one. Wow. How low is stream delay? That's crazy. Apparently, there's a setting I've got on Twitch that can lower it even more. I keep pressing skill 1, thinking it's painful bond, because I'm in the mindset that all these other spells are creating spirits when they're totally not. Thanks, Flag. That's really lovely, man. Earlier, we got a couple of follows as well. Nosh as well, an hour ago. 24 months. That's 2 years. It's the big 2. Thanks for all the streams and entertainment over 2 years. Thanks, Nosh. Thanks for coming, man. I'd be nothing if you weren't here. Thank you. When you don't know what to write, so you just write random things. It's okay. Oh, right. Yeah, no, it's not the fire bridge yet. There's this room. Okay, so we're just going to pull them and ball them in the corridor and blow them up here. I don't remember a twisting bark in this room. Ellie nukes and stuff here. So you'll see, because compositionally we're so strong, the flavor of the fact that we're fighting against lots of AoE damage, I think, is the idea here, right? You've got the Rangers doing barrage at the back. You've got lots of AoE inflicting Elementalists. Here you've even got Ray of Judgment casting Island Guardians. Oh, yeah, the Island Guardians, by the way, are giant. They're kind of like the oak hearts of this region of the world. They're beautiful, and they are awesome, just for what it's worth. But I wonder whether we'll see those in Guild Wars 2. You haven't really seen any, because you see them more on the borders of the Jade Sea than anywhere else, mostly. They do Ray of Judgment, which is more AoE damage, but that's not really fair. Look, there's even traps here. Because back when this came out, I don't think Ray of Judgment did that, so I won't credit that. But, yeah, this room, you see this ramp here? One of the last updates that ever came to Guild Wars 1, and I mean really one of the last updates, possibly even post Winds of Change. I think it was when they did the Ellie overhaul they did this. This ramp never used to be here. This area here, you never used to be able to walk on at all. There were only mobs up here. But to open the door, you needed to hit this switch. So how could you get up here? It was literally impossible to find a way to route up. There's no jumping, remember, or anything like that. You could not get up here. The only way to get up was to have a necromancer with the very specific skill, necrotic traversal, which is exploit a corpse and teleport to its location. And as a teleport, not a shadow step, because it's a teleport predating factions before they standardize that. As a teleport, it would allow you to get up here. 99.99% of the times where you're exploiting teleports in Guild Wars 1, it's to break the game, to get out of the maps and in places you shouldn't be. But for some reason, it was like required here. And I can only assume it was just shoddy game design and the devs broke it, but players found out how to get through anyway because of necrotic traversal, and it was left like that for years until right one of the last updates. John Stummy, I think it must have been, and his crew, they looked at it and they added a slope and made it a normal part of the experience. Some people still look nostalgically back at that room and the way it used to be, but my understanding is it was just so stupid and weird. But yeah, you'd need a necro somewhere, primary or secondary, with necrotic traversal to be the guy to do that. And by the way, if you kill the mobs but don't necrotic traversal early enough so that the bodies despawn, yeah, you're shit out of luck as well. Pretty bad. Okay, here's one of the most iconic favorite rooms for me, as so many wipes came here. This is the fire bridge. What's going to happen is we got this very thin bridge. What does this mean? We can be AoE'd and blown up and take all kinds of nasty damage. If it's so ambient, look at it as well. Can you imagine this in like a 2018 kind of nice bloom and nice warm lights and fires here in an otherwise black room? It'd be amazing. The point is, when you walk through on these ledges, there are these fire flowers which spit burning on you. Massive degeneration. Think like the bark. Look at this guy getting hit, right? But then, as you walk through, what looked safe is actually not. There's these creatures here, thorn wolves. So who knows what a thorn wolf is from Guild Wars 2? Is it a coincidence that the Sylvari also have thorn wolves, the Nightmare Court? And the idea here is we're dealing with corrupted wardens. And what do a corrupted Sylvari using? Not Sylvan Hounds, thorn wolves. come on, guys. If both groups are calling themselves Wardens when they're defending their homelands and utilizing Thorn Wolves when they're corrupted, there's so much crossover, all right? But yeah, you find Thorn Wolves. These guys are very few that you fight, but they are super badass, high-level, dangerous creatures. You see how they just utterly nuked our assassin friend there? And our warrior ran out, our monk, sorry, ran out trying to save him. These guys do epic damage. They really blow you up. They're assassins. They're kind of like Oni, to be honest, in a lot of ways. So on the bridge, the idea is you're getting degened, you walk along, and all of a sudden these Thorn Wolves appear, and they just kill you. They just blow you up, which is nasty and horrible. So you got to know... Oh, I got a key. We can use that for a chest later. So you got to know about them in advance. The game is trolling you to send someone out first to proc the spawns, and then when they're dead, you can move up. Now, on the bridge, you are safe from the fire flowers when standing here at these torches that are lit up. So as long as you're standing wherever there's light on the bridge, you will not take damage. But when you go to certain thresholds across the bridge, Thorn Wolves will keep spawning. So everyone can move to where I am now, and we should be fine. But when you cross like to 3/4, they spawn back at the start as well. And spawning a couple of Thorn Wolves back there may have just looked like a couple of red dots for you guys on the minimap, and you might think, oh, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But listen, if you're like spread out across the bridge and you're a couple of players down at this point and you've just got like a monk hiding back there that doesn't quite know where they need to stand, you tentatively move forward, all of a sudden you might find your back row just gets slaughtered by Thorn Wolves, and there's no DPS back there to clear them out, and you're done for. So, you know, that's the kind of thing that this bridge encounter does, and it would wipe so many groups, so many people dead, so much death penalty by the end of it. There's a chest there for us as well. We're sending our assassin further forward just to see what happens here. It might not be you're immune standing in the fire, in the torches, but you're, like, defended well. So here you go. At the end, one final troll, it's vampires, right? So much like Thorn Wolves, these guys will use touch skill. The Thorn Wolves will blow you up very quickly and assassinate you. These guys will do it in a similar way. They get that one touch skill there, drain your monks of all their energy. Suddenly you can't heal up. Just straight up kill your tank immediately from 100 to 0ing them. Yeah. What a cool encounter, right? But trolly, and again, I'm not sure I really think any MMOs could design themselves this way anymore. Because what's the point in trying to present this experience to your player base when they're just going to go watch Wooden Potatoes on YouTube and figure out how to do it before they come in anyway? And you just have this culture of, oh, you need to know what you're doing. And, you know, what value is it anymore? And not just Wooden Potatoes, but, you know, you could go to Wiki that lists perfect guides, community collaborated, you know, that everyone throws out. You know, the Wiki is the most godly thing that will always, always, always invalidate these ideas to an extent. All right, I'm going to open the chest. This next room looks empty. Lots of thorns around. Basically, it's just a hive full of Thorn Wolves. Oh, I already used it. What? Oh, guys, I said I wasn't sleepy today. Oh, we got a Zodiac Staff. Zodiac skins, some of the prettiest skins in the game. Just, by the way, they are gorgeous. Look at that thing. I love the Zodiac set, and realistically, you are only getting them from these elite missions. So to get a perfect gold Q9 of the correct thing with the correct mods, because remember, this is before inscriptions, Zodiac item, that was really what one of the big things you were farming for here. There were a few other unique skins from here as well, as far as I remember. So yeah, the other thing about Thorn Wolves is we have a soul twisting writ. So they are very precise high packets of damage. Well, Shelter just destroys them and means that they can't really do anything. So the idea of this, again, is design you won't find in MMOs today. It just doesn't work with the guide culture that's around. And not just MMOs, by the way, video games in general. It's a maze. It's actually a maze, and it's like, oh, what's the way through? It's a maze where mobs keep popping up and spawning all over you. I'm going to lead us the way I remember going all the time. I think it's because it helps you to avoid a twisting bark that spreads across the whole maze, which is kind of dangerous. Now, here's the thing. There are so many mini little packets of Thorn Wolves that you can only proc from standing in the correct place or wiping out the previous group. Like, look at these ones back here, right? What the maze is doing is it's trying to split you up. Do you see this wall here? Basically, this pulse is on and off. When it's open, it's fine. It's pretty open. But when it closes, it's closed for quite a long time. So if this closes on you, because you're the last one to walk through, you can get cut off from your party for a pretty lengthy period. And what if that happens at the same time as some Thorn Wolves that you missed? Yeah? Because people don't move around in perfect 12-man stacked type bulls. And so you get kind of this moment of chaos where it's like, shit, I'm caught behind. Oh, I don't... And I got to tell you guys, I really have memories. you know, I was a bit more naive. I was a bit younger, whatever, right? When I was playing this and it first came out. But you know when you're scared in real life and you actually feel like a tingle in your neck and your back? I actually have memories of being here in Urgoz Warren, separated from my team, maybe just one or two of us. And it's like the first or second time I've ever come into this room. And like 3 people are DC'd, everyone's like struggling, and you really want the kill. You really want to go further. You're going into these rooms you've never seen before or heard about before. It's super exciting. You've spent hours worming your way here. And now there's the threat of the thorn wolves in these dark rooms. And you're at the back of the party and you just got cut off by one of these wolves. And you know that if you touch WASD in the wrong way, you will potentially proc a wave of thorn wolves you don't know about and get yourself killed back here. And no one has any res skills left and shit like that. I genuinely have memories of having experiences like that and having my backup, you know, in these rooms. Scary, scary stuff. And so cool. You can imagine the adrenaline, how intense it becomes. And that kind of intensity you can only get from a attritive style design like this. Oh, I'm going the wrong way, I think. I'm going, am I? No, I'm not. I don't think. It can only come from like this kind of attritive kind of design. And Guild Wars 2, this is what I wanted from Guild Wars 2's raids. But, oh, just like this. Look at that. The door closes. I'm stuck out here. I'll be safe because the spirits go through the wall. But yeah, and panic and everyone pass through and stuff. It's more the back end getting caught off, and obviously before all the power creep skills. But yeah, pretty intense to be honest. I can't remember. I was in the middle of an anecdote there, but it's gone now. Comset actually running out now, which means we've been in here for 30 minutes, which is pretty good. Oh yeah, no, I was talking about attritive design. The idea that when Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns was announced, that's what I imagined it would do. I imagined they'd look back at their Guild Wars 1 content and maybe do something like that. But the truth is, that was always naive of me, because Domain of Anguish already started moving away from this and allowed you to do stuff segmented. In many ways, you could do each quarter, and even the Ebony Citadel you could do segmented as well. And then with Eye of the North, they kind of returned to atrophy a little bit. The biggest, baddest dungeons were like 5-floor dungeons that you had to spend a long time in. But they flirted with it, but never went really far with it again. Not like they did here with the Deep and Urgoz Warren. But these are my, actually, you know, my range of MMOs is reasonable. But MMOs that I've truly dedicated to are limited, right? They really are. This is, to me, one of my, you know, when people think of raiding in MMOs, they probably have all these memories of fucking World of Warcraft and this other shit. To me, it's this place here, literally, like here. And this design that I think of, and that's what I was sort of interested in with the whole Heart of Thorns thing. Yeah, like Frostmour's was a very long, deep one that sought to grind you out over time. And it's ironic because ArenaNet became so scared to do it. And maybe for good reason, because, you know, DCs and stuff. It's not fun. If someone DCs, and that's why you wipe, because 3 guys have DC'd because you've been asked to commit 5 hours to this and there's no good infrastructure to bring them back in, that's not good. But ArenaNet fixed that with Guild Wars 2, you know? So they could get away with it more in Guild Wars 2? Because DC'd people can reconnect so comfortably? But maybe the fact that you can always replace people and kick people mid-instance is another reason that they shy away from it, because it's that much more toxic. I talked about this in the early faction streams. There's kind of a thing with Guild Wars 1. You're locked into the 7 people. I'm committed to these 11 people right now, and I can't kick them. Even if I want to be, I can't kick them. If I want to be an asshole, that's what I mean. So I'm kind of committed to them in a lot of ways. And it created this like sense of camaraderie that's not there in Guild Wars 2. Their quality of life features has enabled a lot of that stuff to fall away and prevented them from being able to create this kind of stuff, which meant that the Super Meat Boy style Guild Wars 2 raid design is probably all they ever could have gone for in the end. Plus, again, the low bar for how annoying and frustrating and difficult this is so much lower than in Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 can be annoying in raids, and you can be discriminated against when they don't let you into Sabathon. Oh, diddums. You know, you can have these pathetic little problems, but they pale in comparison to what the low end was for Guild Wars 1. Yeah, I'm going the wrong way this time. We come up this way. Oh, I rubber banded. And, you know, that's probably a good thing. Okay, across the bridge. I believe we get jumped on the back of this bridge. There's another bridge we're going to cross in a second where we get another degen room, by the way. Which I don't remember the easiest way to go through. There's a way of skipping all the mobs in there, if I remember correctly. Oh, I love this person who cast Spirit Burn instantly there to get the burning on so the Minor Crosses wasn't a complete waste. Yeah, I don't remember. You can send like one guy who shadow steps past the trigger point and denies a ton of spawns, and then everybody else goes through as well somehow later when they wouldn't spawn. But I can't remember. Someone got Zodiac Longbow, did they? And this is something I miss as well. A sense of community, a sense of discussing things with people that Guild Wars 2 misses out on entirely. Drops, loot dropping physically on the ground that gets printed to a chat log that you can see, you can pick up, you can trade to one another in the moment, you can reserve for one another. That is all beautiful, fertile ground for communication, for making friendships, for talking to people, eventually getting guilds and regulars out of it. That Guild Wars 2 misses out on. You know why Guild Wars 2 feels like you're just playing alone together all the time? There's the elimination of all that kind of stuff, you know? That I'm sure... I don't know, you kind of have to think very carefully about what you put in an MMO. Because even the most innocent seeming little changes can really have long-term effects on how much fun people feel and how the social sides of the game, which is what MMOs need, thrive or die. Alright, so here you go. This is a Twisted Bark with Big Degeneration. And because of the route we went through in the maze, we come out right next to it, so we can blow it up nice and quick. Oh, no, there's double Twisted Bark. Okay, run back, guys, run back. Hopefully everyone's careful. It's double Twisted Bark. That one was... I don't remember. I don't remember what that one was. Are they going for it? The other one's down there. Maybe we'll be all right if we just charge through here. We'll just let everyone heal. Here we go. Come back, guys. Heal up, and then we'll push the second bark. There's no point. And if we can pull these wolves... Here you go. Look. The wolves are killing the minions and the spirits, and then we can kill the wolves in the safe area, and then we can kill the Twisted Bark afterwards. We wouldn't want those wolves spawning behind us as we run for the Twisted Bark. I'm so happy you're playing Guild Wars 1. You really do have a way with pointing out why I returned to Guild Wars 1 from Guild Wars 2 off and on again for years. I'm glad you think so. I'm glad that someone out there doesn't think this is just waffle. I mean, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that these are the observations I've come to with... you know, 7k hours in the first game and over 10,000 in the second, you know, like, and of constantly pushing myself to think about how the game is built, you know, not just brainlessly doing stuff all the time, just actually thinking about it. These are kind of the observations I've ended up coming to. They could be complete bullshit, and that's fine. But, there you go. We killed the bark through the wall because of our casters, and we're okay. But, you know, I can't help but look back at Guild Wars and see all these little things and be like, you know, I remember that. That's a memory I have. When did I ever have an equivalent memory in Guild Wars 2? Well, I didn't. You know, I can do guild missions with my guild in Guild Wars 2 and get less social satisfaction out of it than doing a similar thing in Guild Wars 1, you know? Like, we did that Straits of Devastation event yesterday. I'm willing to bet that if I turned this stream off right now and I just played in-game here, I'd be more likely to use chat in Guild Wars 1 if I like, continue to LP this full... Ah, no, that's not really fair. I probably use chat. Anyway, I don't know. There's just a certain sense of meaning that you get out of it sometimes. All right, so here we're under another bark. There's triple bark. We're under energy drain here. Be very cautious. This one can catch you unawares. Energy drain stops you getting... denies 4 pips of energy regeneration. If you have stuff like Sucker or other things, you can improve that a little bit. But it's really difficult, and it means that people are going to really struggle the longer we're under the effects of it. You see these people dying, and this could, you know, without energy, we can't get our spirits. We can't get anything. Warriors will do well. Paragons, anyone adrenaline-oriented can still do well. But casters, which frankly is the majority of what we're relying on here, will struggle. So we come back to the threshold here. There's another way you can play with this. You can have a second weapon set that has an extra 30 energy on top of what you normally have. And you swap to that and you quickly utilize it for some free spells. But you would be under the effects of degeneration while you're using that, so you'd have to be really careful. But yeah, so this is a really scary and cool one as well. And again, depending on what way you go through the maze, you sort of have to suffer this. There's 3 barks all at once, and you kind of have to take them out. I might be wrong here, by the way. We might be going the wrong way right now. More thorn wolves. You know, every new thorn wolf that comes up is like, oh, fuck, I don't have any energy. I really want it. A lot of us are staying back and regenerating over there, though. I'm just going to continue. I can't even cast Necrosis here. I'm not really doing anything except auto attacks. All right, there you go. Yeah, also you can get energy from other mechanics, like that guy using Asuran Superiority. He is, we've totally gone the wrong way, haven't we? I think I've taken us the wrong way. I think the route out was somewhere else. He gets energy when mobs die, so he can regenerate in some other ways. Now, what you don't want to do is scout ahead on your own, like I just did, because I just spawned some mobs over there. More wolves that people want to kill. Where is the next twisting bug? I will 100% admit to being a bit turned around and lost right now. Just a little bit. We have a Mesmer using Chaos Storm. I wonder how good that is here. Alotis says, I know I'm not the kind of person aimed at with this kind of design, but I am interested in that kind of design. I mean, yeah, that really, in so many ways, Guild Wars 2 is about turning its back on this stuff, you know? No more waiting around to have fun. We want every single one of your play sessions to reward you. You know, with a Guild Wars 1 experience, this is a typical Guild Wars 1 experience here at Urgoz. You are not a casual player. You dedicate 5 hours of your life to Guild Wars 1 gameplay. I wouldn't say that's a casual player at that point. You give it 5 hours, and all of it was pugging Urgoz. And through none of those Urgoz pugs... Oh, does he want to stand here to regenerate our stuff? It's this bridge here we got to be on, by the way. Oh, no, that's the bridge we were on before, isn't it? Or no? Or maybe it's... Am I right? Am I wrong? It's a long bridge we have to go across. You could dedicate 5 hours, all of it to Urgoz, all of them wipe, and you don't get any drop. That is not, according to ArenaNet, respecting your time, because you didn't get a reward out of it. Because that's all that matters, I guess, at this point. No, we did go across that bridge already. Why are people pinging for us to come back? Oh god, more wolves. We're out of energy degen now. And Guild Wars 2 is all about turning its back on that. Entirely about turning its back on that. Which is why I think, you know, both games can exist. Both worlds can be there. I don't think, you know, one of the reasons I hesitate from that word old school is because old school suggests that it's like anachronistic. It's out of its time. It's dated. It doesn't work anymore. And definitely a lot of elements don't work anymore. The trolliness and what I've been talking about and the guide culture and all that, a lot of it doesn't work anymore. But there are a lot of other elements of Guild Wars 1 that still do work. And I think it's a bit disingenuous to say old school when describing it. Well, no, not disingenuous. That's not the right word. It's just wrong. It sets us down the wrong path from the outset, you know. All right, let's check out this twist and bark. Seriously. So I get a bit of energy because whenever I summon something, I get energy. But now that I've done that, I'm kind of out. Let's hope the group can help out. There's a necrosis. Good. Okay, everyone gets their energy back. The reward is the awesome feeling when you beat it. Then you trade with players who got the drop you wanted. I find that more fun than Guild Wars 2 throwing greens in your face all the time. I mean, yeah, Guild Wars 2's arms race with itself for loot and storage space is... I don't think intended anyway from the devs, and is sort of separate. But yeah, you're right, definitely. And I agree. I mean, I'm definitely of that opinion. The harder something is to get, the more rewarding it is when you get it. So I don't need this kind of... Like today in the... This is not going to become a Quarteria rant, but today in the Let's Play, I end a big story arc by killing a tactician, and she just like autos me, and it's like, what the... Why is this better than a challenge that I can overcome? You know, why is this better? And I'll tell you what it is. It's cowardice. I think it's cowardice. It's because they know that a lot of people, the second they struggle, if you don't package your game properly and really pay attention to how you telegraph challenge and how it should be overcome, such as Dark Souls does, that's the true success of games like that, right? If you don't do that properly, people quit your game. And so instead of looking at that problem, they just don't make it hard in the first place. Oh, not hard. Hard's a bad word. They don't provide challenge. Challenge is not equal to hard, guys. Not all the time. So, well, that's a really dumb thing I just said there. You get what I mean, though, right? Like, we're just talking about challenging people. We're not talking about frustrating them. Though that may be part and parcel. This is bad, and I'm rambling. I don't know where I'm going. Someone else lead the way. Here you go. Morumatsu is standing over here, so I'm going to follow Morumatsu. Unless they were just waiting for energy. I gotta stop rambling. Actually, I don't think there are many complaints that the base story is too hard, Dan. I've never seen anyone legitimately saying that. Mostly people are being very generalist with stuff they're talking about, and they're probably talking about Heart of Thorns open world shit. or other open world stuff. Honestly, this is another room we've never been in, but is it the way out of the maze? Maybe. The story ain't hard, it's just unbalanced to do it in solo. What are you talking about? Oh, okay, so the next twisting bark here is exhaustion. Every time we cast a spell, we exhaust ourselves, which we as a ritualist can get around a bit because our binding rituals aren't spells, and necrosis is a skill, so that won't exhaust us either. But yeah, this one's super painful as well. This is almost worse than the energy degen one. And this is a huge wave of thorn wolves here. Careful. Careful, team. Don't forget, we did wipe at the start. And everyone's going to be getting exhausted. This isn't going to be easy. The twisting bark isn't dead. Pull out, guys. Everyone who's watching the stream, pull out. Come back towards the bridge and clear these thorn wolves out here that they're getting nuked. Because this will really go south very quickly if we're not careful. Even I'm exhausted now at this point. Oh, scary shit, man. All right, we can go for the twisting bark now. Come on, somebody. Condi. Hex. Nope. I'm just going to spam this. We need a Condi on it, though. There we go. Oh. Yeah, this is normal mode, not hard. We're doing kiddie hour here. The idea was not to spend too long in here. Okay, I remember this room. I just don't remember the way out of these rooms. We're trying to get up here on the top left, by the way, for what it's worth. So maybe we should follow this. Oh, here, this could be it. Maybe? I mean, we've cleared everything in the maze, really. I know that there's some brooding thorns and things over there. Jesus Christ. It's going to take a while for this exhaustion to run off. But look at this. Like, Guild Wars 2 players would be crying for GG to reset their exhaustion at this point with this. You know, it's just a completely different world of design. Completely different. Yeah, by the way, all these exclamation marks, I really hope you guys can see just how strong that Mesmer is carrying with that kind of stuff. So many actions interrupted, just prevented before they can do, you know, before they hit the brick wall of the spirit twisting Ritz defense and the save yourselves and stuff. I think people have gotten used to games as just being used as narratives and not actually as games. Games that tell a story and make you sort of amble through to get the story told. People forget the games are to challenge you and your friends, and that's what originally made games fun. I definitely agree that there's been a swing in that direction. The real interesting discussion to have, though, is why MMOs have moved in that direction. You know, why did MMOs have to be the genre that bowed so heavily to the storytelling idea and nothing to do with gameplay anymore, right? And I'm not sure I have the full answer to that, but I think it's because whether what you're interested in is story or you know, gameplay elements. I remember this nature room, and I remember the way out of the maze being straight through, and these breeding thorns we haven't killed. So let's try this. This is where I was trying to lead us when we originally came. Both are things you can dedicate yourself to, and both are things that you can be a no-life about, and both are things that, you know, it's not like story is for casuals and Urgoz Warren is for hardcores or something dim-witted like that. It's really not that. To really, like, Guild Wars 2 story is a perfect example. If you don't have a lot of kind of background information about it, if you're not really invested, you really don't have that much fun with it, honestly. It's not that great moment to moment. It's not that interesting. There's any number of single-player games you could play to get a way better story experience. You really need quite a bedrock of shit to get your value out of it. And that's the same for, you know, a hardcore raiding mentality. You need a bedrock of hours and understanding of builds and what comps need and stuff to get a lot out of it. It's the same thing. So why did MMOs have to go in that direction? Why did this franchise go in that direction instead of the other, you know? I definitely think in 2012 at launch, the devs were going for a bit of everything. So that's the long bridge. Is that the one, though? It's got to be this bridge here, guys. Surely. That's the way out, right? That's the bridge? So hold on, maybe it is the second exit. Maybe it is the middle exit. Unless there's a way to loop around. Maybe you go under the bridge and loop around over it. What if I click the bridge? Will it path me to it? Oh, it is path me to something. No, it's path me here. What if I click the bridge, There. No, it's not doing it. Okay, let's try and loop around like this. Maybe it is the middle exit of that plant room. I read a really interesting thread about MMO design on our MMORPG as well. God, that place is a cesspit, by the way. Nearly every reasonable discussion gets downvoted. Everyone seems so hateful and angry and bitter and just like sour at the genre, yet they proclaim to be fans of it at the same time. It's a really weird place if you look at the way that they're like really, really odd. But I was reading an interesting thread where someone was talking about Guild Wars 2. And, you know, people always think of it as, you know, the casual game, the easy game because of the low, the no gear grinding aspects and, you know, ascended gear bar and you get Zerk once and you're done forever. And they were talking about how really, if you want to be really good at Guild Wars 2, it's not actually that low of a bar still. Like, the goalpost is just moved for Guild Wars 2 because at the end of the day, no matter what infrastructure Arena add to the game, this is the same bridge again, so this isn't right. Let's try and go left out of this room, though. Let's try and go over there somehow. Even more wolves. See what I mean about the wolves? No matter what ArenaNet's infrastructure are, at the end of the day, you're still sort of in a race against other people, other players, and there are other people nerdier than you and that dedicate more time to you. And if you are on the lower end of that bell curve, the community expectations of one another will skew against you. And that's true in Guild Wars 2 also. Because, yes, you can get your Zerk gear really easy, but realistically, guys, if you want to be in a good raiding guild for Guild Wars 2, there's a lot to learn about every encounter, but also, alts are really easy to get in Guild Wars 2 now. So, basically, you're not, if all you play is a you know, one profession, is this it? I think this is, no, this isn't it. This is a dead end. I'm so lost. The expectation, if you're going to be in a good guild, if you're going to be in good clears and stuff, is actually to have 3 or 4 different characters set up. So, when you actually look at the reality of the situation, in many ways, you're still being asked to do it. The potential at the low end is maybe lower, potentially. But, as far as the community cares, you know, you're going to be considered a scrub if all you do is play one build all the time and never anything else and don't learn anything else. Do you get what I mean? Because people will be nerdier than you and people will push harder than you. And that's what someone actually expressed on our MMORPG, where usually the opinions, there's good discussion generally, but when it comes to Guild Wars 2, a lot of the opinions are terrible. It reminds me of, do you guys remember that stream we talked about the, oh, what's it called? The amnesia paradox. I can't remember what he called it, but you know that idea of the guy reading the newspaper and he's like, oh, this is a reasonable opinion. Then he turns to a page about something he knows and he realizes it's talking shit, but then he just forgets about that and turns to the next page of the newspaper and keeps reading that. Our MMORPG is a lot like that. I will read them discuss other MMOs and just broad trends about the genre, and I'll nod along and say, oh, that's interesting. It's cool to see. These people seem like they know what they're talking about when they're discussing the fall of Wildstar, for example, or anything like that, which just got closed down. And I'll like nod along and I'll, you know, idly be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then I'll turn the page to a Guild Wars 2 oriented thread, and the kind of just lunacy that just utter horse shit, completely dim-witted, off of this fucking planet out of touch opinions that get, you know, that are basically upvote farms that you see when they talk about Guild Wars 2. You know, I totally have that, and I'm like, these people don't know what they're talking about. I have to assume they don't know what they're talking about when it comes to what Wildstar and all that other shit as well, I suppose. But hey, there you go. All right, finally, we're out of the maze. This is it. You get the door, you move on through. And there was another exit to the maze, by the way, across a long bridge, and there's a way to like skip a group and things, but whatever. You love the dark environment, the lit up plants? Yeah, it's great, isn't it? They got to do something with that in Guild Wars 2, like bioluminescence and stuff. Oh. I remember my original Urgoz video, we stopped here and speculated about the people that might live in this building. Alright, so yeah, energy drain in this area. There was a twisting bark that we were under the effects of, but we didn't have to kill. We can just move on by. Alright, so we're in like the last third of the dungeon now. This room is a double twisting bark room. There's twisting bark on the left. There's twisting barks on the right. Ramps to get to either. If you try and fight in the middle, and just immediately open the door and kill the serpent there, you're going to have a really rough time because there's lots of patrols weaving in and out and double twisting barks, as I said. Comps these days can do that and they will just rush through. We're not going to do that though. We'll do a proper clear, which is pull stuff out, cast barrage on them at the door, and blow them all up. And then what we'll do is we'll go up the left, we'll clear that, we'll go up the right, we'll clear that. I think usually you go up the right first. I think that twisting bark is regarded as a little bit more punishing for its effect. So we'll see. We'll stay here at the door for a second though, guys, and get the let this next pull come in. Can you have someone in your party with toolbox do a damage output type / damage? Yeah, if somebody wants to. In game, if someone's running toolbox. You remember the final pull in the deep, bringing out Knaxai over to your party who had to set up a trap? Yeah, the deep had a lot more like precise little nuanced little things. I have less memories of doing the deep though. It's not a favorite of mine. So here, look at just the hordes of mobs here. Look at these. If you ran into that room, this would all be a back attack as you're trying to get through that door under the effects of double twisting barks. This room's not very trolly. It's pretty straight up about how it does things with the minimap and whatnot. You know, in some ways, this thing that Guild Wars expresses, Guild Wars 1 with these missions, with hordes of creatures and that Raids doesn't do it. You know, I'm not happy that Guild Wars 2 can't do that for us and hasn't done it for us. But what I will say is, to the devs' credit, it's much harder without a compass with minimap dots everywhere. I'm sure they probably could do it reasonably well if compasses were a thing in Guild Wars 2, but they're not. And I will say, to Guild Wars 2's credit, I love that there's no compass and red dots in Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 1 is not just a face roll when you get to a certain point and kind of really low bar boring content, but it's also very rarely are you actually looking at the game. You're mostly looking at a party window and you're looking at a compass. For most, like, you really almost can play the game entirely just looking at this, and that is abstract and boring and not really as immersive and real of an experience as Guild Wars 2 can offer. Despite how more floaty and fast-paced and mechanically bereft the game is. That's a nice term, right? That's not too rude to call Guild Wars 2 mechanically bereft, right? Thanks for whoever refreshed the concept, by the way. Someone just joked, in before a red dot mastery. I'll tell you what, one of the early traits that they ever demoed was Rangers, and only the Ranger class. One of the traits, back when it was like Final Fantasy VII Materia, one of the traits was to add minimap dots back on your bar. It really was. And then they removed it and just had it for a couple of special personal story instances. No shit. No exaggeration. It was exactly that. And so some personal story instances you do still actually see, but they are, you know, they're unintentional. They're incongruences and they're not meant to be there. That's just shoddy design, lack of QA. I talked in one of the recent streams about how I watched one of the ArenaNet streams and they had QA people on there. And one of the things I wanted to mention was I was so desperate in chat to type, hey, can you talk about personal story QA? Because it clearly has fucking none. But I don't think any of the people that were on that stream even worked at the company at that point. So all those people, as terrible as their jobs obviously they were and how time crunched the whole thing was, they obviously wouldn't have been around. And it would have just been a trolly, mean thing for me to ask, and I wanted to rise above it, so whatever. I think one of the things is doing something with our enchantments here, by the way. What is it? Sheer Exhaustion's on, which is awful. I think another one of the twisting barks is making it so we can't enchant ourselves or something. Kind of nasty. Anyway, we should be clear now, so to move on up, everyone should be coming with me. Hopefully they all follow. There could be traps, by the way, left from the brambles and whatnot. Just don't cast too much and sheer exhaust yourself. No, one's weakness and one's sheer exhaustion. So one is meant to counter casters, the other to counter physical hitters, I guess. We got to move on up, guys, and we got to burst the twisting bark kind of early in this pull, because the exhaustion will fuck us up if we're not careful. So I'm going to move up straight away and ping it. It's all the way over there. It's pretty far. Oh, shit. I can't remember what my bind was to ping. It's this one here. So hopefully we can burst it down, because otherwise the exhaustion will get us wrecked later. 3 binding rituals plus necrosis spam for me, so I don't exhaust. Good. There you go. That's half done. It was good to see you, Lugos Venation. Describe my dream MMO? It would be too hard and it's too ill-defined, because as much as I talk about this stuff, I haven't really sat down and written up a doc or anything. There's lots of different varieties of MMOs I enjoy. I still believe very much in my heart that one of the most successful MMOs that could ever be made would be a 2D MMO. Like MapleStory, like another 2D MMO I used to play way back when. Oh, they're bursting the serpent from down here. That's kind of hype. Ooh, so we could just skip through the door? Do you guys want to try and do that so we don't even have to clear the other bark? That would mean we have to do the next encounter under weakness because the bark would still affect us. But yeah, I still believe very much in 2D MMOs. If you think about some of the opinions I've been given recently about how powerful abstracting stuff is and hinting at things that you can't go to and how important that is, players might interpret it as a loss of freedom, but it also like does so much for our imagination and belief and understanding about the game. If you think about that and then you look at the way 2D MMOs are constructed, where you marvel at the backgrounds behind you because you're limited to this one plane, 2D MMOs in some ways are some of the most immersive and like vast feeling experiences you can get. And I still believe in them. I really do. No fucking joke. I just don't think anyone talented is trying to make them, especially not in the West. There has to be the right filtering in and mix of certain Western philosophies that ArenaNet are amazing at, for what it's worth. That unfortunately we don't see elsewhere. So yeah, we have to be careful and cautious of the twisting bark behind us. Oh, wait. We're still under sheer exhaustion. Okay, this is kind of scary then. We probably should kill the other bark, guys. Let's pull out. Everyone on the stream, I'm pulling back. If you guys all want to as well, because we're going to be exhausted. These wardens will keep coming for a really long time. I'm pulling all the way back. We will have to run quite far out of sheer exhaustion range. And let's kill the other twisting bark. I thought that it was weakness on the other one. I guess I got them mixed up. I'm not very good at the game anymore, guys. Sorry. But yeah, let's just pull back and then go up the left route instead. Here we go. We'll do some pulls, by the way. Don't charge all the way in just yet. I'm just putting the wardens here, and then we'll fight them outside of the exhaustion. Or attempt to let them ball up all on this corner. I mean, we're still in range, unfortunately. Everyone's doing really good, by the way. Very precise with the movement. Here you go. This is range right here at this door here. So if we all pull back just a little bit. I don't know. We might clear him anyway. In a way, Guild Wars 1 is a 2D game. Unless... No. That's not how the conversation started. I mean, yeah, you're kind of right, but I don't mean that. You know what I mean. I mean literally a flat plane game where you can move left, right, up and down. And yeah, you're talking about, if this was bird's eye, here's an interesting thought, guys. If the camera, literally it would just be a matter of the camera. If the camera was fixed bird's eye over you in Guild Wars 1, nothing else about it mechanically would change. And most areas you'd be able to play in perfectly fine as well. It's very rare that they overlap some bits of terrain with others. Or have you go, and then, the cave ceilings be high enough. And just a little endorsement for Toolbox. That's one of the things Toolbox lets you do, by the way. You could play it like an RTS kind of thing. Yeah, and you could do like a 2.5D thing as well, where there's actual several slices of the frame you can go in on a 2D experience. You can go left, right, up, down, but you can also press up on a door, which shifts you to the plane behind, where now you're like a little bit further back or whatever. That's totally possible as well. But there is something really beautiful and gorgeous about the way MapleStory handled things as a 2D game, and I think the other one that I played was a really niche, weird game called Soul Saver, and then it rebranded and had a different name in the later years. But yeah, I think there's value there, but that's not necessarily my dream MMO. There'd be other fully different experiences of MMOs I think that you could offer. Tree of Saviors. I'm not sure what that is. Is that essentially what I'm talking about, Flaganti? Is that actually a thing? So there you go. We got out that bark now. I guess the reason people like the right road is because you can hit the serpent from up there and push through if you're good enough. Kind of a cool thought. Listen, guys, as well, I'm going to forget to say this later, so I'll just say it now. Do yourselves a favor. Once this stream is gone, all right, there's two things I want you to do. All of you. Every single person listen to me. Go to YouTube and look up some 2018 speed clears of Urgoz Warren. Now that you've seen this playthrough, which is a pretty slow plodding along run, but nonetheless gives you a bit of an insight into how much more extreme it used to feel and all that other stuff, Watch one of those speedruns once I'm done here and you see the full thing. Go watch one of the speedruns. And just how quickly and efficiently teams move through these rooms and how well they skip all the mobs and stuff. Because it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I kind of want devs to watch that as well because devs are so scared of people skipping mobs. They think that that's like wrong or bad or something. But it's so awesome the way that players accomplish it these days. I mean, I get from a reward standpoint, it's like, okay, you've just taken what should have been hours worth of content and made it 8 minutes. I understand all of that. But, you know, skipping isn't necessarily boring gameplay. You know, it's masterful in a lot of ways. Just because it was unintended, it's not always bad, you know? It's unintended for people to do this stuff. All right, if someone's got a really big dick, you can run into that room and aggro, like, tons of it and come back. And they'll all come to the door and we'll blow them all up. It will be the difference between us spending, like, 15 minutes here and 5. So if someone wants to try it, you can go be our tank and wade out into that room. And look at this. This is what I'm talking about. This is the Guild Wars 2 tanking experience that is missing still. And it's got nothing to do with philosophy, I don't think. This is what you should feel like, you know. We don't really have a tank, that's the thing. So whoever's going to do it needs to be really brave. But someone would have to run out, sweep through the room, and come back to the door, and all of them would come. ArenaNet made an interesting decision with Guild Wars 2 to make the dungeons with the assumption people will skip everything with stealth. They literally just gave up. You think that was on purpose? I think they were... I don't think they thought deeply about it at all, Nike. I think that they got angry when they saw how much stealth was being used to skip stuff. I think they appreciated the possibility, but probably thought, like, one trash mob every now and then would get stealth skipped, but it was balanced well enough because the blast finishers would, you know, reveal people. And I think that the left hand didn't know what the right was doing when skills like Shadow Refuge and blasting and stuff was implemented, and they didn't realize how good people would get and how many people would get as good as they got. I think they just underestimated the community majorly, and I think they got pissed off to see how much skipping happened in Guild Wars 2. I mean, you can't honestly look at the development of the patches over those early years and how aggressively they tried to eliminate so much skipping culture without actually looking at the problem skills. I don't know. But you've got the other stance that you think they just knew people would and they just kind of gave up. Maybe. I mean, who are we to say? These are the kind of candid discussions that need to be on Guild Chat, all right? This is the kind of shit Ruby needs to get devs on to talk about. Talk to us about it. Did he get all of them? There's still a group over there he didn't get. It's our job, really, to not go too greedy and push into the doorway. Really, you want them to come to the doorway and to ball a little bit more around the outside here. And then, you know, Panic will work, will do its magic a bit better and whatnot. In a lot of ways, minions kind of run contrary to what a lot of this gameplay is like, if you guys have noticed, because minions spread out and slow down LOSs and kind of screw things up. But screw you. I'm a ritualist. I'm a hybrid minions spammer, all right? You don't think you can create stealth without assuming it will be used to the maximum? Oh, I'm sure. What I mean is, I reckon some of them will have in meetings appreciated and understood that as they implemented stealth, but then the follow-up meetings to properly assess and understand it and what players were going to do never happened. I reckon because of time crunch. You know, like individual facts about the way the game might have gone may have been known, but the teams didn't enact enough change or communicate in the ways they should have to prevent dungeons being just shit on release. Is essentially what I'm trying to say. Like, I reckon any of them would have been smart enough to have speculated that stealth could have been really bad, but they would have hand-waved it pre-release and said, nah, we'll fix that, don't worry. But the fixing and the actual tackling of the issue never happened, you know, because they never valued it as a problem enough. That's kind of what I mean when I say the left hand not knowing what the right does, you know. I reckon way too many things with Guild Wars 2 basically boiled down to we can fix it post-release. Despite how grossly they were saying to the community, it will be ready when it's ready. We'll be ready when it's ready. Was the Zaitan fight ready? ArenaNet really? Was most of that, you know, Chapter 7 personal story stuff you guys have seen in the LP recently ready? Were dungeons ready? I get so cynical about that. Just fucking marketing term now, looking back. Because I was such a fanboy for them as well for so long. I was so like, oh, why isn't there a release date? Don't worry that there's not a release date. They just want to make it as good as they can. I believe them when they say that. They're going to really release it when it's ready. So little was ready. So little. Was Vanilla Guild Wars 2 ready? Definitely not. I mean, come on. Anyway, I don't want this to be a bit of a miserly stream where we're just shitting on it constantly. Yeah, this room's kind of interesting, I guess. Just a big, like, prison. I think they call this the prison room. There's no twisting bark in here. The twisting barks you'd be afflicted by are the ones of the previous room if you were skipping through, which would make this really tricky. But a guardian serpent at the end. Can you imagine being, like, a solo just running through, trying to wipe through this one serpent? And they have a good range of skills here as well. Touch skills, enchantment rips, all the stuff that bypass the defenses that were available to players at the time. All right, we're in kind of the penultimate room now. Maybe the antepenultimate room. Or, what is that, pre-penultimate? Anyway, this room is, I mean, pretty lazy, to be honest. They're all pretty in their own way. It's just full of mobs. It looks empty, and there's just more, and then 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 more, and it just never ends, basically. So, I'm going to grab these thorn wolves, and what you'll see happens is when you kill one wave of thorn wolves, more spawn. And then when you kill more waves of thorn wolves, even more spawn. It's a bit like fighting titans from Prophecies, really. And I'm going to run through to get all the regular spawns first, like so. And now, as these all die, more waves will trigger, and then more waves, and more waves, and more waves. And this door doesn't have a serpent there, you'll notice. This door only opens when everything's dead. So, there you go. That should be all the packets, and they should all be on queue to just charge on through now. Let's get some spirits and minions and things up. Should be enough corpses now. I'm really amazed at how difficult it is for me to maintain 8 minions here. Have you guys noticed? They die really quick. Despite being so heavy on spawning power and death at the moment. If I had Aura the Lich, it'd be kind of cool, because I could bump the death magic higher, get the levels higher and stuff. Why is my energy so low? Did I just... Oh, I guess it was Wanderlust. Wanderlust probably joined me quite heavily. These are both 15, right? I'll go Shambling again. Like, where I'm standing right here, there will be a packet that spawns on me and nukes me. Do you guys... Oh, mind you, it's the my spirit... My things keep dropping. What's the enchantment removal that's landing on me here? That's what the energy management problem is. It's enchantment removal, but I don't know what is doing it. I love animate bone minions with Boon of Creation, so you get the double proc of the energy management. This is not what I meant, by the way. There'll be another group that spawns. And they just keep coming. Oh, it's Shroud of Silence. Is that what's been removing the enchantments? I'm going to not Necrosis spam until I see that I've got more stuff. Let's really build our minion panel up. We got the 50% skill recharge proc there on minions. Pretty happy with. Got that blood drinker. There's another wave. We got to go aggro him. Is this the pull I was thinking about? I thought they were thorn wolves that spawn here. Maybe it's later. The blood seekers use strip enchantment. Icy veins. You see how the doors close behind us here as well? Yeah, that's a thing that I haven't talked about. But basically, if all players move in... This has happened at various rooms. We're in, like, room 9 or something right now. If all players... This is more of the troll design, right? Which they should definitely have moved away from. But if all players move into a room, it triggers a thing in the script that closed the door behind you. And that happens a lot. So the idea is you're locked in. And then, you know, you're locked into the maze with all the walls. There is no safe place, right? Any mob can spawn around you. But there's always a very easy way of not having that happen. And that's just by having one player stand back before the trigger point. And as long as one player was not on this side of the door wouldn't close. Because the devs didn't want to invent mechanics to let you get through. Which obviously they do in abundance in Guild Wars 2. But so what it meant was people could would always have someone stay back. And that goes as far in one of the areas, like one of the big bridges we went across before. It has a thing that if you have one player stand back, the door won't close and none of the mobs spawn either. So like just one of the whole encounters you just don't have to deal with. And then everyone can run through, and then once you've cleared the room after that room, the final player who's been standing back can walk through and he's fine. Here you go, this must have been it, blood drinkers. I knew something came up behind us. So yeah, I mean, there you can see a little bit. We actually did all just run in. There's Morumatsu guys standing there, AFK. And the final door is now open as well. I will kill these because otherwise Mori's probably going to die. Well, we're having a big discussion about lore, are we, in the Pale Tree and the Savari. Listen, it's messy to really like try and draw a solid line through the Savari. Is messy as hell. You best just hope that Matthew Medina has got a brilliant like headcanon and clear, precise understanding of what that race needs to be, and he can save you all with a great Malik storyline and shit in the future. If anyone's gonna do it, he's the man. So this, by the way, is a really cool room for me because it's a deceptive room that I never really understood when I used to play this game. You remember the maze? I always believed, well, not always, some of my earliest runs when I first got here, by the way, the hype of being here, we're right near the boss now. The hype was insane, okay? But the idea of getting here, you're following other people's leads. You don't know what the fuck's going on. And you'll notice that there's a door on the left and there's a door on the right. And I mistakenly believed on my early runs, when I didn't know much about this, that those rooms were other ways to get here. That because we'd got a very specific route, what we called the easiest route, but maybe if we went out of the maze, there was another route, and we would have gone from the left door or the right door or something like that. And so I'd always believed that Urgoz Warren was even bigger and more massive and immense than even I had seen playing it and beating it those first few times, because there were those other doors. Turns out, I think that they're just like dead ends or entrances to other places that we don't have to worry about, and that's it. Or maybe cut content, and there you go. But yeah, so this is the Urgoz fight. I'll read out his dialogue. The blood drinker. Okay, and I talk about this in my Let's Play. Basically, his dialogue should be proccing after every room, like it does in the Deep. As you go through every room in the Deep, there's a little bit more dialogue. The devs shittily coded this, and they just have all the dialogue proc at the end instead, which is foolish and silly. But so you get it. So the blood drinkers will feast on your corpses. That dialogue clearly should be right at the first spawn at the beginning of the dungeon when the blood drinkers all pop out of nowhere, okay? It is your fate to die in this place. You will never escape. Which path should you follow? They all lead to your demise, the labyrinth. Let the wardens put an end to your misery, human, that big prison room. Breathe deeply for the corruption of the forest, share its agony. And then finally we have here, the Kurziks who lived here long ago knew that they could not escape their destinies. You too will learn the folly of fighting the inevitable. It is as I have foreseen, you will die here. Look, it's a conscious, intelligent spirit of the forest. It's like the Pale Tree, right? I knew you'd make it this far, but soon you shall have no more. It is your destiny. I don't know what it is all about the destiny and stuff. But yeah, alright, now the mechanics of this are really peculiar. I don't remember anymore, guys. These are just guardian serpents for the other entrances. We don't have to worry. So he's got the two big worms, which we don't worry about. Basically, he spawned. You can kill him with Edge of Extinction alone. Alright, let me start this entire thing here. We could wipe. This is like in Guild Wars 2, where you do like an encounter and it's very specific in what it's asking of you, and if you don't do it, you're dead. He's gonna spawn lots of little creatures that explode and knock us down and do nukes, and you will die, trust me. Keep moving, basically, but the more you move, the more things spawn, so just stay spread out and moving. And I'm really scared and we might wipe, so try and stay near the entrance and flee at the first sign of trouble, okay? Team? Cool. That's what I remember about this engagement. We used to cheese this with Edge of Extinction. Get Urgoz below 90% and then just kill him with his spawns. Yeah, you see this forest binding thing? Alright, let's go. Let's just see what we got. Let's go. So I have -4 energy drain in here as well. Seriously, bail at the first sign of death and danger, guys. Bail. Don't kill the little minions. I don't think that helps. So we can necrosis him. Yeah, you see these explosive growths? Move away from them. Do not stand near an explosive growth. Okay, now I'm out of energy and I'm going to run away. To get it back. Hold on. Does killing the serpents here act like killing the twisting barks? Where are the barks that are affecting us and giving us energy drain? I don't really know. Everyone's doing okay. They're blowing him up. I'm going to come back and get some generation. So he's got a bow here, by the way. So Urgoz has his own special stuff. Urgoz longbow or some shit. And this was the main thing. I actually got one of these eventually, and I was really hyped. It was worth a lot of money back then as well. Kanak-size axe from the Deep was the big one over on the Jade Sea one. But yeah, we seem to be doing very well. Good job, guys. I've got enough back. I'm just going to come in necrosis spam. 90 armor ignoring damage is perfect. as an auto, as long as they keep that burning and that bleed on him. And a hex. Oh shit. Okay, so as a big badass boss, he sheds condies and stuff really quickly, so necrosis might not always help, but it's pretty good. He's got really high armor value, so we're probably doing pretty good here. I could summon pain, I guess, but I want all my autos. Here we go, just a couple more. When it's over, you still have to clear the other stuff in the room, so be careful. There you go, Urgoz dies. Oh, and I never really showed you his design much, but look, he's like a part of the tree. He is a tree, he comes out kind of thing. I know that the pale tree is like an avatar, and we just see a representation, and that's a bit different. So visually, definitely it doesn't seem that good as a theory. But yeah, what gives us the energy, DGen? I don't remember. It's not one of these creatures far away, is it? They're just guardian serpents. Oh, there you go. Maybe it was the side worms. Maybe. Maybe it's further back. And there you go. That's it. No dialogue or anything. You kill Urgoz. It spawns Urgo's chest. Everyone can click it. You get a ring of loot. In hard mode, you get more. I got a Zodiac Scepter. Oh, what? Hi. Look at that. A Zodiac Scepter. It does earth damage, which is crap. But it's a Rec 9 rare Zodiac Scepter for spawning power, which is our profession. I do love the Zodiac skins. Sadly, it's not two-handed. And its mods aren't perfect, and I'm possibly not salvageable off. But that's kind of cool. The game knew. Look at that. My favorite Zodiac skin is the Zodiac Shield, by the way. That thing's awesome. It gives us some straight-up amber, which is pretty nice. We get a mystical summoning stone. I think this summons Gaki. Yeah. So what the Gaki have in relation, I don't know, but there you go. And then once he's dead, over here, this teleporter opens up. I remember when I did my Let's Play of this, I was struggling so hard to give you the animation of it opening. But this teleporter takes you back to either the staging ground or House Zuhelzer itself. The staging ground, there you go. And it kicks you out of your party, and you're done. There goes Warren. The elite mission. So there you go, there's our bonus stream for factions. You guys did awesome. That first pull was really scary. But everybody wised up, we played careful. That's Guild Wars 1 in a nutshell, right? Not about the comp or grind or whatever, about just knowing the rooms and going in, being careful with it. We got pretty goddamn lost in that maze. But overall, not too bad. We're only 20 minutes longer on the stream than we would normally be. So yeah, guys, this was really cool. Am I going to do the deep too? I don't know. I've just talked a lot and my throat is kind of sore. And I don't like the idea of draining a ton of energy doing the deep as well. Maybe we'll do the deep, maybe, but we did vote Kurzik. I don't know. Probably the next streams you see will be Guild Wars 2 streams. It's been way too long since I've been there, and I kind of want to remind people that I do it. So we'll see. Deep might be cool as an end of Winds of Change thing, right? If and when we do Winds of Change, we might finish up with a deep. Not all Gaki are healers. There are Gaki. Oh, the summons. Yeah. This is actually a good summoning stone. That's a good point, actually. It's a good summoning stone for certain solo content and low man-oriented stuff because it's a healer and a guaranteed healer. Some of the other healers you get aren't guaranteed. Like the Evan Vanguard Shining Blade Warhorn thing can give you healers, but only it's on RNG. The Gaki is a guaranteed one. Yeah, some other time. I know you meant at some other time, and I mean at some other time too. I don't know. What I'm saying is I don't like the idea of getting my throat sore on another day. If you guys want to see that, though, you can let me know, and we'll go further. It's been cool to see you guys in chat. Was the energy degen from standing in the water? Maybe. I don't remember. I don't remember it well enough anymore. But I really think that was a good flavour there, guys, and a good sign of it. And I hope you all had fun. And yeah, the next stream will be Guild Wars 2. I'm not sure if I've really got anything else to say. Don't forget. All right, now, go watch. Seriously. Go watch a speed run of it. Seriously, just type in Guild Wars Urgoz speed clear and type 2018 on YouTube. Just watch one of them. You'll see that the video is like 10 minutes long tops. I think they're like 8-minute clears. And watch how everyone beelines through, uses You Move Like a Dwarf and Finish Him to blow up the serpents to open the doors and bolts out the other side. And they just almost never stop using WASD. They're just always moving to get to the end. And it's amazing. And those communities are still around. So if you can worm your way into them, Guild Wars 1 might still be pretty fun. So yeah, and then after that, come join me at the Pokemon Marathon, I guess. Cheers, guys. I hope you enjoyed. It's been awesome. And I'll see you next time. Oh, any info about the mini Gruul? That will be upcoming later.